And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Roger, roll, Atlantic. Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalizer.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my god.
Yikes, you bet. We don't need any more of these.
Good evening, everybody. You are looking at a live shot of a Falcon 9 rocket poised on Space Launch Complex 40, getting ready to launch the GPS-III SV09 mission. Once again, what's going on, everybody? I am EJ, your host. I'm a commentator for NASA Space Flight, and I will be the master of ceremonies for tonight's stream. We also got Carson on production, and we have Max and Sawyer and Julia out in the field today. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. It is a little bit late. It is a little bit late, but it's good to be here for a Falcon 9 launch, right? Good to be here for Falcon 9. Now, this one is, it's not our garden variety Starlink mission that we have flying tonight. It's a global positioning satellite. Global positioning satellites are used by, the warfighter and you and I everything from satellite navigation to your car to figuring out where your aircraft carriers are out in the ocean. They're pretty useful, and tonight we're going to see one fly, hopefully. The GPS-III SV09 does have a name. It's named after Ellison Onizuka, which is, he was one of the Challenger 7 astronauts, today being the day of remembrance for NASA, which is pretty good, pretty classy if you ask me. Now, if you're wondering what GPS is and how it works, well, global positioning satellites use actually timing, and they're basically used to figure out where stuff is on the ground. You can figure out where stuff is on the ground through timing. They use atomic timing on the satellites. The atomic timing is used to measure it's used to measure precise distances and change in movement. Very, 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 very useful. Figuring out where stuff is, like I said, where an aircraft carrier is for instance. The reason why I say where an aircraft carrier is because the GPS program was originally part of the Navstar program. The Navstar program was a project by the Navy to basically, in the late 80s, they basically tried to figure we should probably know where all of our ships are in real time. That would probably be useful, right? Thus, the Navstar program put forth to the GPS program. We've been constantly, since then, and that was in the late 80s, since then the GPS system has a global positioning satellite system. So if you hear me say GPS-S, it's not redundant like ATM machine or PIN number, right? Global Positioning Satellite System, GPS-S is the name. Since then, the Global Positioning Satellite System has constantly been upgraded and up to the current version here, which is the Mark III. The GPS-III constellation features a bunch of actually new features that the GPS-2 and the GPS-1 satellites didn't have. One of them actually features a what's called a cross-link command and control architecture that allows GPS constellations to be updated simultaneously from a single ground station. So if you gotta patch it, you gotta send a patch out to the global positioning satellites. You can do that. They also have new spot beam capability for enhanced military M-code coverage. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not 100% sure what that means, but M-code, I'm sure it's useful. And in case you're wondering, anybody who makes these satellites, this satellite was made by Lockheed Martin. So anyway, you guys know the drill. There's your little bit of a backdrop on what this mission is, and what the satellite is, where it's flying, and kind of a little bit on how GPS works. But if you do have more questions about it, you can tag at NASA Space Flight. I'm always here. I'll answer your questions. I have the command queue up and ready to go. Now, just a little bit, a little bit going through the support queue here. We had a couple people become Pad Rat members there. We had Deirdre Edward right there becoming a Red Team member. We had Lisa Almond right there becoming a Pad Rat member. And then we had Harrison Kintz becoming a Capcom member. Thank you very much. We also had Elcan in there with an 11-month Red Team membership for 11-month Red Team membership. And then we had Woodworker Don. What's up, man? 29 months being a Red Team member. Thank you very much for watching. All right, so I think we finally have our field communications people up and running. Sawyer, are you out there in the field there looking at this rocket? Can you hear us?
9 in front of me. It is, I know people are going to say, oh, well, there's the winter freeze going on. How can it be chilly in Florida? It's on the chillier side, I'll say that. It's in the high 40s Fahrenheit here, right along the water. Light breeze, clear skies, and thankfully, as the 45th Weather Squadron forecast says, it is greater than 95% favorable, and it looks and feels it.
Man, 40 degrees is pretty cold for Florida. I mean, it's no 12. That's what it is here up in New England where the EJSA broadcast studios are. But yeah, that's pretty cold for Florida, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely colder than we like here, but we're troopers. We're going to stick it out for you because, oh yeah, rockets. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Actually, speaking of that, Sawyer, I do believe this thing is flying up northeast, so it's gonna fly up by me, so it's gonna experience the chilies for a second. You know, it's nice and warm down in Florida, but yeah, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff.
I mean, it's also going to experience the chilies because it is indeed going into space, where depending on which side of the Earth you're on, the sun-facing side or the non-sunlit side, it can be like negative 200 versus positive 100. So. Yeah, thermal conditions in space is actually a thing to deal with. Yeah, and it's actually important to, chime in on that because, it's hot when you're in the sun and it's super cold when you're not in the sun, but that's just that's the heat that gets conducted from the satellite from being in the sunlight. Space flight itself, space up in the cell, up there in itself is a vacuum, and it's the absence of heat. So it's very interesting how you get a spacecraft that could be plus 200 Fahrenheit or minus 200 Fahrenheit next to the vacuum, which is absolute zero. It's a very, very tumultuous environment, let's say. Very, very interesting. So, guys, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on this Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is the workhorse vehicle coming out of the the United States here with, I think this is the, let's run it down here. This is the 594th Falcon 9 mission and the 11th mission of 2026. Oh my goodness. This, the booster flying tonight, the first stage, which if you guys take a look at the camera shot, you see that it has a dark ring. The dark ring around the center of the vehicle, that's the separator between the first and second stage here. The first stage is what's below that. That stage has been reused. If you're no stranger to SpaceX, you know they reuse stuff. That first stage, flying tonight, is carrying the serial number 1096, or 1096 for short, on its 5th flight. That's just a little baby booster, Sawyer. Do we know? Like, we've seen Falcon 9s that have over 30 flights. Right? This is just a little baby. Yeah, we have some that are at 31 plus flights, both on the East Coast here in Florida and the West Coast over in Vandenberg. We're used to seeing ones in the 20s and 25 numbers. So yeah, when you get something that's only a -5, aka flying for the 6th time tonight, it's a little surprising sometimes. But then again, it's already done some big missions with Leo-Falcon or Kuiper Falcon 1, IMAP mission, which is a great science mission, NRL 77, another National Reconnaissance Office payload there, and then a Starlink mission.
Only one Starlink. Yeah, man, this booster's brand new. It's barely even been broken in. Anyway, 1096, provided that we see this candle light tonight, everybody, will be landing on one of SpaceX's autonomous spaceport drone ships. These are called ASDSs for short, and SpaceX does have names for them, and the names are derived from Ian Banks's Culture series of books. They're named after the ships in the Culture series novels. This one is a Shortfall of Gravitas, or ASOG for short. The other two drone ships that are operating for SpaceX are, Of Course I Still Love You and Just Read the Instructions. So which one of those is on the West Coast? Because there's two on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, right? Okay. Sawyer doesn't know the answer to that question. No, there's one operating on the West Coast, two operating on the East Coast, guys. We have a Shortfall of Gravitas. Shortfall of Gravitas, and I believe, Of Course I Still Love You is out west, and Just Read the Instructions is east. So a Shortfall and Just Read the Instructions are on the East Coast, and Of Course I Still Love You is out on the West Coast too. Of course, receive Vandenberg launches, but that's not where we are tonight. We are on. This is Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This one's going out of Florida, and it is launching due northeast, so it's going to launch up the coast. The reason why, and here's the nerd part. Nerd part's coming. All right. So a lot of you guys, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are staying up this late for a launch because you know about space flight, but just in case you don't, the reason why this is flying with an azimuth of 45 degrees, like if you look at a compass relative to the launch site, it's going to head kind of northeast, straight northeast out of there. The reason why it's going to do that is because what these global positioning satellites are in a medium Earth orbit at 54 degrees inclined. Okay, meaning that if you drew a track of the satellite, you kind of took a map of Earth, a 2D map of Earth, and you drew the satellite's orbit over that. At the point at which the orbit crosses the equator, it makes 54 degrees, meaning that its orbital plane is 54 degrees tilted to Earth's equatorial orbital plane. I know there was a lot of big words there. Once again, you guys got questions, you tell me. But GPS consists of 6 different orbits, all at 54 degrees inclined with, I think there's 6 different orbits, 6 satellites per orbit. I mean, obviously they're upgrading them. This is they're phasing out Mark II and be going with Mark III. 6 different orbits at 6 different longitude of ascending nodes is what that satellite constellation is. Also, it's important to note that global positioning satellites are not in low Earth orbit, like you'd see with Starlink, but they're not in high Earth orbit either, like where a geostationary satellite would be. Global positioning satellites are a MEO constellation, or medium Earth orbit constellation. These global positioning satellites have I believe it's a 12,000-mile apogee, or about a 12-hour orbital period, which is called semi-synchronous orbit, meaning that one global positioning satellite doing one revolution in its orbit is about half a day. Yep, it's called a semi-synchronous orbit because it's half of an Earth day. If you have a full geostationary orbit, right, your orbital period is 24 hours. One orbit is 1 day. One orbit is a half day. And then a satellite that's down in low Earth orbit, or something like that, let's say the ISS, the International Space Station. The International Space Station has an orbital period of 90 minutes, meaning it takes 90 minutes to do one orbit. It takes 12 hours for a GPS to do one orbit, and it takes 24 hours for a global position or for a geostationary satellite to do one orbit. Pretty cool stuff. The more you know, and knowing is half the battle here at NSF. No, we're trying to teach you. This stuff is cool, and we love it, right, Sawyer?
Yes, exactly. We love it. A great explanation, by the way. Never go this in depth in these Falcon 9 launches. I like it. But then again, they're also just Starlinks usually. So it's nice to not have your ordinary Starlink.
Right.
Although there is never an ordinary Starlink. You know that if you listen. It's not your ordinary Starlink ever.
You know what? Sawyer, how many landings do you think you've seen?
Oh, geez. In the hundreds, for sure.
Does it ever get old?
No, it does not. I still hold my breath every time as it punches through the clouds.
Right? I don't know about you guys here, but Sawyer and I are here because we love this stuff. This stuff is great. We got rockets on the brain. we might have a problem. Like I don't know. You guys tell us.
Oh, we definitely have a problem. We know it though.
Yeah.
Like you said, knowing's half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Admitting it is the other half, but don't tell nobody.
Well, we don't have to do that part.
No. Anyway, let me rake through some other support here. We have ODST Moody, ODST, Orbital Drop Shock Troop, man. Love your name. That's awesome. Tell Florida to give me my warm back. It was 10 Fahrenheit, minus 12 C this morning. Send this money to the NSF Heater Fund. Yeah, it's that. I'm about with you, Moody. I appreciate the $5 super chat. We'll try to point a space heater in your direction.
Yeah, but this is still not warm. This is still on the colder side for Florida, at least. It's not like the other day where it was 70 Fahrenheit here. It's, still cold here.
Yeah, jeez. Okay, we got Charlie with a storm message here. How does the SpaceX launch and what does it have tonight? Oh, well, it launches up. And what does it have tonight? Like I said, it has a global positioning satellite system, or GPS-S. This is the U.S. Well, it's not, it is a U.S. military satellite technically, but if you have satellite navigation in your car, dedicated satellite navigation or dedicated GPS, you're using the Navstar network. You're using these. These are something that it's kind of like how in the U.S. the national highways, the national highway system that was put into play by President Eisenhower in 1955. The highways were built as a way to interconnect with basically a gigantic grid across the United States. With roads that end in 5 going north south and roads that end in 0 going east west. So 10, 20.
Can I interrupt you a moment?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
There was a hold in the count. We have a new T0 of 11:53 p.m. Eastern Time and 16 seconds.
Okay, so a little bit of a delay here, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, okay. When is this pushed back to? Okay.
11:53. So they held it at the 43-minute mark, which is about the time when they do the go-no-go poll for prop load. So something must have popped up there. But they've reset it, and the only problem is it is a 15-minute window, and we're basically pushing it to the end of said 15-minute window.
Yeah. This is a pretty short window. These medium Earth orbits, because it's semi-synchronous, like I was saying, guys. You're gonna have a very, very short window. You're very limited on performance. This satellite is 4,352 kilograms. That's pushing about 9,000 pounds for if you use pounds and not kilos. This is a pretty big satellite that's going to a pretty high orbit. It's not the highest orbit around, but you have a pretty short launch window to get what's called the right phasing into the correct orbit. But anyway, the global positioning satellites, like I was saying, are actually a piece of defense infrastructure that ends up having end user applications, like you navigating the national highway system in your car. That's where I was going with that. But we do appear to be in a little bit of a hold here. We'll get you more information when we get it, guys. Once again, we're just a scruffy bunch of guys in here just trying to watch some rockets with you. So the information we'll get it to you when we get it to you. We'll see. Is that EJ? It is EJ, Steve. Hello. How are you? What's up, chat? How you doing? Okay. Yeah, freedom units. That's right. Anyway, once again, we did enter a little bit of a hold here. We're not 100% sure why the hold happened, but they are now targeting pretty much the end of the launch window, which means that any more holds in the count means we're not going to light this candle tonight. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in here. We might still see a launch, so let's stick around. I know you're tired. I know. It's late. It's absolutely. And if you're watching this in Europe, well, thank you. It's really late over there. Okay. Let me just give a quick refresh here to the new T0. So yeah, we were about to start fueling, but they stopped. I mean, Sawyer, I don't know. Do you think they held it because something went weird with the fueling? Because right when we get to inside of about 40 minutes, we start that fueling procedure, right? Like, you think something went weird with that?
No, because they haven't started fueling yet. They don't start the fueling until the T-minus 35-minute mark.
Yeah.
They just have a point there where they can, do their final checks. If there was something they were monitoring, if something was iffy with either the rocket or the weather, that's their time to check it out. So in terms of the timeline, that is right around, you can see there, when they would be doing the verified go for prop load at the T-minus 38-minute mark. So it happened right around before then, and then if all goes well, they begin that prop load at T-minus 35 minutes, starting with the LOX, liquid oxygen, and the RP-1, the rocket propellant 1 kerosene, onto stage 1, and they just start the RP-1 on stage 2, all of that at the T-minus 35 minute mark. So before they get into all of that, because again, Falcon 9 does do the load and go, which is a much quicker propellant load and basically no opportunity for error once they start. They want to make sure everything's good before they go into the count.
Okay, and we know it wasn't weather related either, because I don't know, look up maybe, Sawyer, right? Like,
at least launch site. I mean, the official forecast also had space weather, booster recovery weather, and upper level winds all as low on the risk criteria, which is the lowest that it goes. There's never a none for those. So yeah, and in terms of the actual weather criteria that was an issue, it literally said none. So.
Okay, so yeah, we know it's not weather and might not have something to do with the fueling. This but we don't want to speculate here. We could just kind of pick away at possibles. Once again, if there's any information here, we'll give it to you as we get it here. As you can see, guys, right on the screen there. So on the right view, you have additional views here from Max. From Max, who's out in the field, and Jerry, who's also out in the field as well. Jerry Pike and Max Evans, two very talented photographers and media purveyors here. Yeah, media purveyors. Yeah,
ooh,
I like
fancy.
That. Yeah, that's a good word. We should keep doing that. So we got views from them on the left, and then we have our weather report, or views from them on the right, and we have our weather report there on the left. Now, yeah, here's the additional view here. I think we're out at the... Oh, all right. Hey, I can see your screen. Can I read chat from there?
No, you don't want to know what's on my screen. Yeah, block it.
Okay, all right. No problem. Well, actually, you guys got a beautiful view.
Yeah, this is courtesy of the U.S. Space Force and their media team, which we appreciate when they give us this opportunity a lot.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty close. How far are you guys away from the launch site here?
I believe it's just under 2 miles. I believe it's 1.8 or 1.9 miles from the pad from here.
Yeah, for the metric people, that's just a little bit over 3 kilometers. It's about 3.1, 3.2 kilometers, somewhere in there. That's pretty close. It's gonna get loud, huh?
Oh, it gets very loud, and we say a lot of the times the weather has a role in it. What direction the wind is going, of which tonight there really isn't much. So it's just going to be sound all around.
Cool. Oh man, now I'm getting a little FOMO here. I kind of wish I was with you.
Wish you were here too, but then we'd have no one hosting. So
yeah, that's fair. All right. Let's see. So RGA, I'm going to put that question up on here real quick. It's not necessarily about GPS, but have you guys talked about the WB-57 that belly landed today? No, I have heard about that. Sorry, you heard about that real quick before, while we got some extra time?
I've heard about it, and I've seen the video that was released by one of the local news stations, yes.
Yeah, it's, hey, I mean, it kind of hurts to see the old bird do that, but I think that thing is fixable. I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy. I'm not an airplane mechanic. I just work on junky old cars.
The only negative, of course, the fact that while NASA has 3 of them, 2 of them are both in for maintenance at the moment. So with this, all 3 of them are now in for maintenance.
Yep. Yeah, maintenance. You know what? I like that. The 3rd one is now in for maintenance. That's that's a good way to say that, dude. That's a good way to say
maintenance
that.
from war, just maintenance.
Yeah, it's just maintenance. It'll buff out. It's fine. All right. So let's see. What else do we got here? So, okay, I got one from River Dave Kenny here. So, will the accuracy of the global positioning satellite system of this GPS sat will it improve with the satellite, or just have better coverage? It will improve. These global positioning satellite systems, once again, they will improve position, navigation, and timing services for the warfighter and civil users worldwide, and provide advanced anti-jam capabilities, yielding superior system security, accuracy, and reliability. I am totally not reading the press release, I swear.
But that's what it comes from. It's called M-Code. That's the system that they're doing with these newer generation GPS satellites as a way to try and prevent anti-jamming and other issues that come up a lot with GPS, especially in certain parts of the world. So it's a way to keep it safe, especially since this is something that is also used by military folks. So obviously you want your military fighters out in the battlefield to be able to use GPS and know where they are and where their planes are and their other aerial attacks that they use, and not have them jammed and all mistaken from enemies. So that's part of it. And these are just the last couple ones of the GPS-III anyway. After the Space Vehicle 9, you also have 10 and 11, which both now were originally supposed to launch on Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, but are now being moved over to Vulcan, because these were originally supposed to launch on Vulcan and move to Falcon 9. But anyway, then there's the F1, which will be the new series that comes after these.
So you're telling me this was supposed to go on Vulcan and it went on Falcon instead?
There was a couple that moved from Vulcan to Falcon recently, because for GPS 7, for Vehicle 7, that was originally going to be Vulcan, but at that point, it hadn't been fully certified yet for flight, so they moved it over to Falcon 9 as a sort of rapid response test of being able to launch it quickly on a new vehicle. SV8, same thing. They had just certified Vulcan, so they moved it over to Falcon, and now this one as well. They didn't specify exactly why, but I think part of it is the fact that Vulcan does have a little bit of a busy manifest currently, and they wanted to get this one up quickly. So instead, the next one that was going to be on Falcon 9 will go to Vulcan, and the last one, which I believe is supposed to be a Falcon Heavy, will now also go over to Vulcan.
It's like playing checkers here. Just king me.
You're playing checkers, they're playing chess.
Yeah, that's probably that reads.
It's the military.
Right.
They're always playing chess.
Yeah, they do play. They play 3D intergalactic chess. 4D intergalactic chess, maybe. Yeah, it's a lot of maybe seven. Yeah, no, that sounds right. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go through some support here real quick. So we got Lords of Random. Like your name, that's awesome. $2.22 super chat. The exclusion zone is shaped like a coffin. Oh no, that's because of no, that's normal, dude. Guys, every rocket has a temporary flight restriction, and then we have what's called a notice to mariners and a notice to airmen, right, Sawyer?
Yep,
what are those?
Exactly.
Do we know what those are?
Well, I would hope so. They're notices that are put out to people in boats for keep out areas, for the potential for rocket debris in the event something goes wrong, as well as for usually where the booster and the fairings will come down. So in that sort of narrower corridor, that is typically for the booster, and then where it widens out a bit, that is typically for the fairings, which is about 100 kilometers further downrange than the drone ship.
Okay,
and also
yes.
notice the airmen, which was formerly air missions, but still NOTAM. That is, again, just planes keeping out of certain areas where rockets could be flying into them, or again, if something were to go wrong, the risk of debris. But I never noticed that was like a coffin. That was funny. I'm dead from laughing.
Oh no, don't, dude, it's late. Why?
Because it's late. That's why.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll give that one to you. All right. Anyway, I'm going to keep going through with the support. We got Mr. Fluffy here with a $5 super chat. Best Coast is currently warmer than East Coast. Also willing to bet Max thinks this is warm compared to Indoya. That, you're a third right. I'll agree with you about the Indoya part. Sawyer, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, he still said it was warmer here than Indoya, but its layover in Chicago apparently was colder. So, not much better here in the U.S., just saying.
All right. So we got Rex with a store message. Great to hear EJ and Sawyer on tonight. Yeah. I was like, Sawyer, we got to do something. It's a Falcon 9 that's not launching a Starlink, dude. We got to get in on this, right?
Absolutely. This is a combustion byproduct after dark.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. All right. So we got Rex with another store message that popped up twice. Got it. All right, we got Shazbert Toddbot here with a $5 super chat. Wait a minute. What is Sawyer looking at that he doesn't want us to see on his screen? Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, man.
I mean, if you really want to know, the tabs that are up on my screen right now, besides the back channel, is next space flight, SpaceX's website, SpaceX's X, and my email. That's what's up on my tabs, so not missing much.
Oh, there you go. Well, he told you. All right, sweet. Okay, we got Turtle Sanctuary with another $5 super chat. They called in EJ. Must be a major mishap to bring in the big guns. No offense, Max. Max catching strays here.
It's also because we didn't know if Max was going to be back in the United States in time. So
Yeah. It was really more that. They're like, hey, can you do something other than flame trench? I'm like, wait, what? And now I'm here. Wait, what?
You never cover launches on your own Twitch or anything, never.
Oh, no. Why would I do that? Jeez. What do you think I am, a space nerd?
No.
Dang nerd.
No, at least you're not a space enthusiast. That's Ryan Caton.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that guy's from NASA Space Flight Now.
Yes, exactly. Ryan Catoon.
Ryan Catoon. They
as
called him
NASA
that.
PAO has actually said his name.
They did call him that in a press conference. All right. Okay. We got Xavier Brown with another $5 super chat. Home from work, ready to watch another Falcon 9 launch. Well, yep, we're ready to enjoy it with you, right, Sawyer?
Exactly.
Okay. And then Goliath with a $5 tip. Thanks, AJ, for being a reliable voice for NSF. Can we just say a rela? Because I wouldn't say I'm fully reliable. Just say a rela. Relia. Or a blul. I'm a blul. And then just to keep up with the last support here, Rose Bud with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Operator malfunction at tip site. Loving this trio commentary. Hey, thanks. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching with us. We really appreciate it. I'm sure Sawyer appreciates the view in front of him, right? Like, look at this view on the screen. I'm sure he appreciates that view a little bit more, but we appreciate you too, chat. That's good. You guys are good.
Yeah, I have no complaints with the view. In fact, you see my view right now of the rocket. Jerry setting up his cameras there as well in the view. But yeah, this is where we're set up. It's in the grass. It's a little cold. Normally home to alligators here, but there's a rocket on the pad. It's set for a beautiful night. We appreciate everyone watching here too, from wherever you're watching from. Which, if I dare ask where everyone's watching from, I think the moderators in chat will kill me. But too late.
I was gonna say you kind of sent it already, but
yeah, about that.
We're not moderators, so it's good. It's fine, right? Everything is good.
I don't have chat open at the moment, so yeah, I'm relying on you.
You're flying blind?
Well, I'm trying to save bandwidth here because again, like I said, we're out in the middle of a field.
Yeah, okay. That tracks. That tracks. Okay, once again, guys, Falcon 9 did enter a little bit of a hold here. We entered a hold, and now SpaceX is targeting the end of the launch window. The launch window originally was supposed to open up at 11:38, and that's what they were targeting. It is a shorter launch window. Tonight, it's 11:38 to 11:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, SpaceX is targeting the very, very end of that window. So they did run into some type of bump here, but if the countdown timer is going to go at 38 minutes, the launch director will verify that we are go for propellant load. And then at 35 minutes, stage 1, RP1, which is rocket propellant 1, which is a highly refined version of kerosene. That's when stage 1 RP1 begins. And then also at 35 minutes, you have stage 1 liquid oxygen loading. So LOX for short. All right. And also at T-minus 35 minutes, we have stage 2 RP1 loading as well. Now, at T-minus 20, you're going to see what's called the 20-minute vent. Sawyer, what's the 20-minute vent about?
So yeah, as you see on there, it's actually called LOX chill down because that's technically what it is, but we call it the best vent here. So basically, they use similar lines there to load up the RP1 and the LOX. The RP1, when it loads, is a lot closer to ambient temperature. It's not actually ambient because SpaceX cools their propellants down, whereas something like Atlas V, the RP1 is just room temperature. But the liquid oxygen is a lot colder. It's not just chilled, it is super chilled. So as a result, they need to thermally prepare the lines so that worst comes to worst, if something were to happen, if you don't condition them, you could have cracks and leaks. So it's getting the lines ready for the cold stuff that's about to run through it. Am I talking to myself? Are we good?
No. I was just getting it. Okay, the countdown timer started moving. The countdown timer started moving. Wait a minute. Oh boy. Okay, that messed with me a little bit for a second. I was like, wait, what? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm hosting this stream. Jeez, that's weird. Maybe I should say
Yeah.
something.
Why is no
Sorry
one
about that.
talking?
Yeah,
Oh
well,
yeah.
oh yeah, we're hosting that dang stream. No, and then after that, they'll begin second stage fueling, and then basically the whole thing will culminate with gas closeout at T-2 minutes, and then after that, at T-1 minute, the launch director will put the vehicle into startup. So when the vehicle, the vehicle will go into startup from there, and then you guys know the drill. From the T-0, we all know what's going to happen there. Then we're going to light the candle. But once again, we should have started to see that here momentarily.
They won't say anything, unfortunately, with SpaceX. So at this point, we've passed the T-minus 38-minute mark, which is a good start. We'll see T-minus 35 minutes is, again, as you mentioned, when they start the prop load, and it's usually about 3 minutes or so after that we start to see a frost line form on Falcon 9. So all eyes will be on the vehicle for the next 5 minutes. Although then again, if you're watching the stream, hopefully our eyes are on the stream anyway.
You could put your ear on the stream if you want. I mean, I don't know what that would do.
Someone do it and tell us in chat what happens.
Yeah. Let us know. We, curious minds. Okay. Let's see. So mighty unlikely. What's up?
Just gonna say, I do believe I hear the venting. I think is that I'm hearing over at 40, which is usually an indicator that they are preparing for the prop load. So that's a good sound.
So Sawyer, right? Like you said, during that LOX chill down on the transporter erector, you also have to cool the lines going to the first stage. So if we're hearing some kind of vent down, that means SpaceX is starting to move what's called commodities around, right? They're starting to move liquid oxygen around, right? That's what that means? Yeah, EJ, that's what that means. All right, cool, sweet, great.
Sorry, I was talking with someone at the moment. Yes, EJ, that's exactly what that means. So,
hey, all right.
I couldn't have said it for myself.
Yeah, you did though. You just said it twice. I don't know why you do that.
Yeah, but you didn't say what am I chopped liver, so I didn't know it was me.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
People that watch the Flame Trench get that reference.
All right, so I'm going to bring up a question here from Mighty Unlikely. Let's see. Do either of you know when the U.S. military loosened up GPS restrictions and allowed non-military applications to get higher accuracy? Was it 2005 or earlier? I think it was about that time, Mighty. That's why I put this question up. Because you know, the difference between like, a satellite navigation for your car and what the military uses is the accuracy of the timing, right? So, the GPS that you get from, the electronics store to mount on your dashboard, that's not as accurate as its military counterparts. So, yeah, it was about that time, Mighty, but yeah, there is a fidelity difference between, like an off-the-shelf GPS and what the military uses. They get the good stuff. They get the real good stuff. Okay, so per the back channel here, guys, we have a report that this is a post from SpaceX on X, the Everything app. Propellant load is about to begin and weather is favorable for tonight's Falcon 9 launch of the Space Force's GPS-III SV09 mission to medium Earth orbit. All right, so we got the go. So sorry, those venting noises that you were hearing definitely were them moving propellants around on that pad. So that fueling procedure is ready to go. It's begun. Cool. All right, there we go. We got it right up on the screen, right from the SpaceX's mouth.
There you go. And hopefully by about the T-minus 32 to 31 minute mark, we'll actually see that frost line form. But yes, it's good to get the official confirmation of what we were audibly able to hear, and we should get that visual confirmation in a couple minutes.
Cool. All right. I am anal retentive about keeping the support queue clean, so I'm just going to plow through it real quick. We got Solid Rocket Candy. Yes, the forbidden cookie dough. Gift and 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Solid. We very much appreciate it. We got Hop Hayes, non-rocket related, but EJ, you'll appreciate this. I'll be in Belgium next year and get to do 2 taxi laps at Spa in an Alpine 110S and get to drive 2 more. Oh, yep. Nope. Little jelly of that, Hop. But we are here for rockets right now. We could talk about that later. And then we have Solid Rocket Candy again with a $5 super chat.
getting stationed at Eglin next month. Hopefully I can make it to KSC for a launch. Okay. Here's the thing, Solid. Florida's pretty flat. I don't think you need to get up all the way to KSC. You could just look out your window on a clear night. Right, Sawyer? You could see those launches from anywhere in Florida.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I live about 2 hours south of the Cape by car, and I see them every time. I have family that's down in Broward County that sees them. I know people in Miami see them, especially for the southeasterly launches, which are most common during the winter. So you're very likely to see it. And for this launch, you have a better view if you're further north. But for most launches, yeah, that should not be a problem to see anything if you're anywhere in that kind of, let's say, 300-mile radius south and 100-mile radius up and over to the west.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Eglin's out in the Panhandle, guys. It's closer to like Destin, Florida. It's up past Tallahassee. I mean, you should still be able to see these things once they get up in the air a little ways. But yeah,
I'll admit, I never did see a launch when I was living in Tallahassee, but that was also
Really?
before they launched Starlinks every night.
Yeah, okay. I mean, and also we're not going to say don't go to the Space Coast to see a launch. It's like I was about to just go into describe it, like what's it like being at the launch. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that describes that pretty well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour drive from Tallahassee. I'm not exactly sure from over at Eglin, but just for reference. And I didn't mind doing that drive. It was a pleasure. And again, you get a rocket launch at the end. And the nice thing is, there are lots of them now. So there's a very good chance that if you're down here, you will see something. And if you're not 100% sure if you will or not, make sure you check out nextspaceflight.com or download the Next Spaceflight app to see when all the launches are. And in fact, there's even a widget on your screen that I learned recently that I use that will tell you what the next launch in the world is.
What app is that?
Did I not say Next Spaceflight? The Next Spaceflight app.
Oh, that one.
Available in the App Store and Google Play, and also at nextspaceflight.com.
All right. I mean, that's what I'm. Yeah. You know what? Plugging Next Spaceflight, I don't have a problem with that. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing. And on Next Spaceflight, guys, like here I go. I'm going to do it too. It's not just about seeing what the next launch is. You can see. Like, okay, so SpaceX, we know, reuses these first stages. You can go click on a launch, right? And you can figure, there'll be information up there about what first stage is flying that mission. And then you could click on the stage and you could see all the launches that stage has done. Or if you want to go search for a different type of launch vehicle, not even launch vehicles that, recent launch vehicles, you could see Titan launches with that thing. You could see Atlas F, and like Mercury Atlas missions, and it'll give you the statistics about that. It is like it's a database of space launches. It's not just about telling you when the next one is. I mean, I use it all the time.
No, Carson, no.
What did he do?
Our Ares 1X.
Oh, my guy. Oh, I knew I liked you, Carson.
Oh, no, not you too.
I knew I liked you.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Shuttle for the people out on their bingo cards, but
Shuttle?
There you go. And also, by the way, if you do have the app for many of the launches, there is also a trajectory map that you can see on the app, kind of in 3D with data provided by Flight Club.
Yeah. Working with Flight Club on the back end. Yeah, this app rules.
For that trajectory part, yeah.
Yeah.
For the map.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, I remember when Next Spaceflight was just like, oh yeah, the next launch is this. Now it's like a repository of data, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so we are inside of 30 minutes now. So we should start to see a little bit more action out there on the pad.
Yeah, we can definitely see frost from here, by the way. So
Okay.
you can see on your view on the screen as well, fueling has indeed begun, just as SpaceX posted they would do. It has indeed been done. So fueling is now underway.
All right. That is a good sign. Once again, there was a little bit of a delay, guys. The launch window is about 20 minutes, give or take. I mean, it's a little less. It's about 15 minutes. And SpaceX was targeting the beginning of the window, but before fueling operations got through for an 11:38 launch, they held for some reason. And now they're targeting the end of the window. So we're a little bit behind on the countdown here, but The next step here would be the 20-minute vent here, which should happen in about, 8 minutes, give or take. That's when you should see a big puff of smoke rip out from the transporter erector, which is that truss structure that's holding the rocket right now. That's indicative of second stage liquid oxygen fueling, as per discussed before. So, all right, I'm going to see if there's any more questions. You guys got questions? Okay. Sorry, you're pretty well versed in this, so I'm going to throw this to you, like, not like I can throw it to someone else, but, let's see. So, Golden Floor 5469 asked, what happens if Vulcan delays cause another 2 GPS rocket swaps? They won't have enough other GPS flights to shuffle around to keep Vulcan with its contracted number of launches. Ooh. That's a little bit of a humdinger of a question, Sawyer.
They've mentioned in a previous, sort of press gathering thing that they've done with the Space Force is that there are penalties for not meeting deadlines or for having to swap. They didn't say what they are, what they amount to, anything like that. So I don't know the details of it because it's military. They're a little hush-hush on certain things, it turns out. But, that is the case, and we'll see. One of the missions, again, was supposed to be originally on a Falcon Heavy, I believe, that was then moved over to Vulcan. So Space Vehicle 10, 11, 12, and 13 will all be with Vulcan. Of 11, 12, and 13 are that GPS-F that I was talking about, 3F.
Yep. Cool. All right. We got another question coming over from Twitch. We are broadcasting over on Twitch on my channel. That's twitch.tv/EJ_SA. If you want to go over there, do it, but don't do it right now. Stick with us over here. Katra is asking, what are those 6 towers that we see in the shot here with the rocket? I'm counting 5 here. I'm counting 5 towers. So the ones that are blinking is the lightning arrestor system. Down in Florida, it does rain a lot, and it is the thunderstorm capital of the world. I could go into some really, really super smart, fancy words about why it's probably not a good idea to have your rocket get struck by lightning, but I'm pretty sure that's self-explanatory. So they put lightning towers around the rocket so lightning hits that and not your, multi-million-dollar launch vehicle with like a multi-million-dollar payload on it when it's fueled or anything like that. NASA tried doing that in the late 60s, launching into a thunderstorm. It didn't end. It ended okay. If you're familiar with it, ECOM, try SCE2 auxiliary. That's called it. And that actually gave us a rule, which is weather criteria for launching nowadays. Don't get me wrong, the weather looks good tonight for this rocket, but that's called the surface electric field rule. It basically says don't put the rocket in a position, don't launch it if it's going to become a lightning rod. Yeah, lightning hitting the rocket that's fries things, makes computers very angry. We don't want to make the flight computers angry. You wouldn't like them when they're angry. They don't turn green, don't worry. But yeah, those blinking towers, that's the lightning arrestor system. Now, the slightly taller-ish tower off to the left of the vehicle, so that's frame left on the screen here, that is the Fixed Service Structure and Crew Access Arm, or FSS and CAA. That is where, if people were launching on Falcon 9, this one, I want to reiterate, this is a global positioning satellite. This does not have anybody on board. But if there were people on board, that little arm that's up there, that's kind of pointing to the left, will swing around out to the vehicle, and that's how you do what's called ingressing into the Dragon capsule that would be attached to the top of Falcon 9. As for those 2 other things in the bottom left, those are radars, and I refuse to elaborate any further.
Radomes, to be exact.
Radomes, that's right. They are radomes. Yep. And that's it. That's all they are. Now, while we're here going over the glossary of terms for ground servicing equipment and paraphernalia, if you see on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you see a building with 2 doors in it. That is a HIF, or HIF, or Horizontal Integration Facility. That is where they take the transporter erector, the structure that you see that's holding the rocket upright, they roll the TE
inside of that structure, and they build the rocket on the transporter erector. The transporter erector rolls out horizontally, attaches itself to the launch pad and some hydraulics, which you can actually kind of see those there, and that they're attached to it right now for the strongback retract that happens, and it takes the vehicle and turns it upright. But yeah, thank you, Carson, with the zoom in on the HIF there. That is where they put the thing together. They put it together like IKEA furniture. Don't worry, there's no extra bolts. If you have extra bolts, you got a big problem with the rocket. With your your furniture, probably not. I mean, it'll probably be fine, right? It'll stand up. It's good. It's good.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Except worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? Let's see. What are the 4 towers? We've got that already.
Which, by the way, we have a 4 towers shirt, just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's got a pun on it, so it's even better.
Oh, I don't know if I want that anymore. Okay, so once again, just reiterate a little bit of what this mission is, guys. You're looking at a Falcon 9 rocket, which is a 2-stage launch vehicle poised on Space Launch Complex 40. The Falcon 9 tonight is, believe it or not, it's not launching a Starlink. What we have on board is the Global Positioning Satellite System 3 Space Vehicle 09, or GPS-III SV09. This is the Ellison Onizuka satellite. This satellite is part of the this is part of the Space Force's Global Positioning Satellite System, or GPS-S. Whenever you hear like, oh yeah, I'll use the GPS to find where I'm going, there you go. That's what these satellites are. These are the ones that will help you find, where you need to go. Or if you're like me, you'll use a map and everybody will make fun of you. But you should probably use GPS. I mean, your phone can use this. Satellite navigation inside of a car uses this, and but aircraft carriers use this. We kind of went from 1 to 10 right there, but and everything in between. They're used primarily as a goal for the warfighter. They're used so the military knows where all their Navy ships are. You probably don't want to lose another submarine. Have you lost another submarine? No, sorry, I'm EJing. Anyway, but it also
that's the verb.
Yeah. I'm EJing again. Sorry. Anyway, so these also, just like a lot of defense infrastructure in the United States, like the highway system, the U.S. National Highway System, also has a secondary use for civilian users, for me finding out where the closest Dunkin' Donuts is when I'm not in New England. All right? We're not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, but hey, call us. I love Dunkin', guy.
Of course you would, Mr. Boston over there.
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry. It's the local delicacy, okay? All right. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Llama King 1217. The start of the year has been pretty slow for launches. How come? Ooh. Sorry, I'm going to take this one if you don't mind. So,
go for it.
Guys, you usually see a little bit of a slow time in January and into February. The reason why, if you really want to know, the holidays. Oh, there we go. There's our 20-minute vent.
Right on time. As we mentioned, that's when they chill down the line that will eventually feed the liquid oxygen into stage 2 of Falcon 9. This will go on for about 4 minutes or so. And once that vent stops, then we will know that LOX load has begun on stage 2. Meanwhile, stage 1, both continuing to get the liquid oxygen and the RP1 load as we speak.
Anyway, going back to the question. Thank you, Sora. Appreciate it. The holidays, Llama, have a lot to do with it. Everything slows down a little bit in the space program during the holidays. I believe that is colloquially known as Berger's Law. If you say you're going to launch in Q4 of a year, it's probably not launch until Q1 the next year. That's because, people are out. People visit their families. They use time away from this crazy obsession that we call space flight. So because of that, you see kind of a reverb effect into January, and it goes a little bit slow. But yeah, it's going to pick up again. It's just going to take, like operating a space program and doing what Falcon 9 does, where it launches like every 2 to 3 days at like high, like when it's
highballing, I'll say, is that, the reason why I said highballing is because it's like steam engine. You take some time to build up momentum, but when you build up momentum, open that boiler, open that wide open and highball it. It's going to start going real fast. And Sawyer, correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe that SpaceX has more missions targeting this year than they did last year, that's kind of nuts when you think about it.
Their number last year went down originally. I believe it was 165, then it was 160, and then it was 150-ish, I believe. So hopefully I'm aiming for that original target of eventually maybe having, a flight every 2 or 3 days, which is unbelievable. And another thing in regards to that is they need time for pad maintenance. If they keep running these pads nonstop, there's no time to do any maintenance on them. So a lot of times when we see these down periods, even if it's only for a week or two, a lot of times they're using that to work on the pad, check the infrastructure, do your beginning of year tests so that for the rest of the year you can go full throttle. Although they go full throttle on every launch, but I mean in their, you know what I mean.
Well, they throttle the engines, so at one point they're not going full throttle, right?
Yeah, but at the pad they're at full anyway. Moving on.
Who's on first?
What?
Who?
No, what's on second?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Third base, anyway.
Yeah. We're good at this. We're fine. Let's see. All right. Oh, here's a good one from Dougal, 4144. Is the clock on the satellite running slightly faster or slower than clocks on the ground? There is a difference. Believe it or not, these global positioning satellites are using coordinated time, which is a little bit different. Let me go in here, and I had a thing here. It's not actually. It's called. Coordinated universal time is the world's primary time standard, which occasionally adds leap seconds to stay aligned with Earth's rotation. The satellites, they don't have leap seconds, and they're using coordinated time. So there is a little bit of a time difference. The reason why is because when you are in a different distance from the center of a planet or celestial body's gravitational field, you have to take into account what's called time dilation. All right. So long story short, a second is a little bit different depending on the force of gravity. It's a different timing down here on the surface than it is up at semi-synchronous orbit where the global positioning satellites are. It's actually different. And the GPS satellites use an atomic clock because of this on coordinated time. And they do skip leap seconds to take into account that difference, amongst other things. There are other things that they do. I mean, we could talk about that. I could give you an Alex answer about that if you really wanted to know. We give you a really good Alex answer. But yeah, long story short, they do take into account the difference. Because once again, GPS is not about necessarily sending signals back and forth to like triangulate something. It's not like a movie where they're like, oh yeah, we have his triangulated position, we'll figure it out. It's nothing like that. They use timing. And believe it or not, all a GPS does, like if you have satellite navigation in your car, for instance, or on your phone or anything like that nowadays, what it does is sync the time with the satellites. That's all it's doing. It syncs the time, and you can determine position based off of that. It is wild stuff. The people that thought of this are way smarter than me. Way smarter than me. They make the big bucks. I get supported pretty good here on NSF with you guys, and I love hosting launch streams with you, but I don't think we make that kind of big bucks. That would be nice though, Sawyer, huh?
Yeah, that would be great. If anyone wants to, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, we do appreciate the support. And speaking of that, I'm going to plow through some here real quick. Xander Gilmore gifted a Red Team membership. Thank you very much. We had Ryan here with a store message. Super fun stream. Love watching. Stay warm out there. Oh, and nobody say the S word. Oh, I haven't said it. Have you said it, Sawyer?
No, and neither have Max and Jerry, amazingly. I'm surprised.
All right. Okay, we got Xander Gilmore with another $1 super chat there. Appreciate you. And then we got Mr. PC Scrapper, $5 super chat. Sir, sure can use some warmth. It's cold in South Dakota. Oh, Scrapper, I can empathize. It's like 10 degrees Fahrenheit here, which for Celsius, that's way into the negatives for people that use Celsius. Yeah, it's cold. It's very cold. I have about 2 feet of snow. 2 feet or about 60 centimeters of snow on the ground. So, that I got that going for me, which is nice.
And then we
And I will
got
say,
Biden. What's up?
I checked here, by the way. It is 8 degrees Celsius here for those who wanted the conversion.
Oh, that's a heat wave.
I mean, it feels a lot colder. It's closer to probably 2 or 1 on the feels like, but yeah, 8 Celsius.
That's not bad at all. And then we have Bideford.
You come out here then.
I mean, I can't. I'll freeze. Trying to get there or something. We have Bideford with 5 red team memberships. Bideford, thank you. We really appreciate you. You're awesome. Okay. What is our time here? We got 13. We're just above 13 minutes here. Okay, we still got a little bit of time left. Once again, you are looking at the GPS-III SV09 satellite aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, targeting a launch time of 11:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, just inside of 13 minutes from now. The rocket originally was targeting 11:38 p.m., but they did run into a little something, I guess, that caused them to push to the end of the window. We only got a 15-minute window here due to where this satellite is going. The global positioning satellites are in what's called a semi-synchronous orbit. So it's an orbit that has a 12-hour orbital period, meaning it takes 12 hours to do one revolution, as opposed to like a geostationary satellite, which is 24 hours, right? This is in semi-synchronous. So in order to be in a semi-synchronous orbit, you need to be about 12,000 miles, statute miles straight up, as opposed to GPS, which is, or geostationary, which is 23,000. It's about halfway. Makes sense, right? Semi-synchronous, halfway. So because of that, you have kind of a shortened launch window. Now, once again, for the nerds, I'll run through it one more time here. This global positioning satellite is launching out of Space Launch Complex 40. There's some nerd speak for the nerds here, just in case. This is a 45-degree flight azimuth, targeting a 54-degree inclined orbit into semi-synchronous. So for the nerds, they already know. They know just by hearing that. Okay, this is a lot of performance. So because there a lot of performance is required out of this, that first stage isn't going to come back down and land near Sawyer. I mean, that would be kind of cool. Not on Sawyer or Max or Jerry out there. We don't want none of that. It's not going to do what's called a return to launch site. This first stage is going to land downrange on a Shortfall of Gravitas, or ASOG for short, which is a autonomous spaceport drone ship. One of SpaceX's ASDSs. These things are basically, somebody at SpaceX was like, hey, wait a minute. What if we take a barge and we kit bash some oil rig positioning equipment on it and then land a first stage on it? And then somebody else at SpaceX a long time ago said, you know what? That's a really good idea. Let's do that. And that's what they've been doing. So Shortfall of Gravitas is one of 2 autonomous spaceport drone ships that SpaceX has operating out on the East Coast. The other one is Just Read the Instructions. And then, of course, I Still Love You is the West Coast drone ship. Now, once again, that drone ship is way far down range because the first stage it needs all that performance to push that satellite way up into space. Satellite is 4,352 kilos, or just a little bit over 9,000 pounds. Sending that 12,000 miles, or about, let's see, what's that in metric? Like 18,000 kilometers straight up. That requires a lot of performance. So that first stage is going to go down range and it's going to land kind of out of view from where Sawyer, Max, and Jerry are. But we should be able to see some of that footage here, right? Right, Sawyer? Like, because we got the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So you guys...
Sorry, I know you wanted me to probably say more, but yeah.
No, it's all good, man. All good. I'm just making sure you're still alive. That's all.
Oh, still alive. Doing a little multitasking while we chat. Just checking some cameras.
Hey.
Max and Jerry getting their stuff set up too. And of course, keeping an eye out on things here as we go under the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You got to remember, Sawyer isn't just here because of his good looks, although he could be. All right?
Such good looks, I'm not even on camera.
Hey, we're imagining you, okay? All right. Anyway, so... he's actually working on a lot of background stuff, getting the remote camera set, like making sure all the remote cameras are set, making sure all the cameras are set. Same with Max and Jerry doing all the back end. And we got Carson doing the production, who is pinging me right now. What do we got here?
I don't know about you, but I can see SLS from here, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, really?
It's lit up. It is bright. It is orange, although it is fully assembled, unlike the shirt that you can get at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, which is the SLS assembly design.
Oh,
I do
baby.
love this. I do love this one. It's like an IKEA print, except for SLS. Even the little astronaut dude in the spacesuit, the moment I saw that, I just laughed out loud. It's amazing. So basically, how you assemble the rocket, how you get rocket with people to moon. It's great. It's the first of 3 designs that are coming out. So if you haven't checked out the Artemis 2 page, make sure you bookmark it because we have the rollout shirt. Of course, we have one when we get to that West dress rehearsal, which is coming up the next couple days, apparently. So stay around for what that design is going to be. I saw it yesterday. Oh, it's another winner. And then the launch one is very special. I may or may not have one at my house that just arrived. I'll have to send a picture to Lindsay. It looks good, though.
That's great. And Sawyer, you know, we're not showing you these SLS shirts, and we're not saying that you could see SLS just because it's really cool and Orange Rocket is good, right? We're getting teed up here, or NASA's getting teed up here. We're getting teed up to cover it. NASA's getting teed up here for the wet dress rehearsal for SLS, and we're doing a stream about that, aren't we?
Oh, we are going to be live streaming the wet dress, and of course, we are going to be all in, going all out for the SLS coverage. Remember what we do for Starship? Yeah, it's going to be bigger than that. It's exciting.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
But I'll save that because
Starship suits are good.
I'll save that. I don't want to get us too hyped out. I feel like we need to chill a little bit with this one, like the 9 Merlin 1D engines are about to do in 15 seconds from now.
You know what? I'll allow that segue. That was good. Yeah, we'll allow it, chat. That was a good one. All right, so now what we're going into here, what Sawyer was saying is that we're going into engine thermal conditioning. So what SpaceX does is, because these engines the Merlin 1D uses RP1, which is a refined version of kerosene, and liquid oxygen, which liquid oxygen is extremely cold. When we think of oxygen, we think of it as a gas, right? Well, if you want to make it a liquid, you have to freeze it and put it at pressure. And then take anything out. You got to make sure you have straight liquid oxygen in there. Now, because of this, like I said, oxygen's really, really cold. And if you have a warm rocket engine, now Sawyer said it's 8C out there, right? Like, or about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, liquid oxygen is a little bit colder than that. It's like 293F or something, minus 293F. It is really, really cold. That's a huge temperature difference. You don't want to run hot, cold propellant into a warm engine, relatively warm, even though it is a little bit chilly out there. So what SpaceX is doing now is moving those propellants into the engine's fuel pumps and what's called turbine machinery, to make sure that they're cooled down to the right operating temperature. Like if you had a car, you got to get it up, you got to get to the right operating temperature. They're making sure that the engines are at the right temperature, and they got to make sure that they're primed, so when they hit the go button, the engines turn on right away. Once again, you don't want to run cold propellant into a warm rocket engine. That makes it angry. We don't want angry rocket engines. We want nice and happy Merlins.
Yeah, right. Bob Ross, happy little Merlin.
Happy little Merlins right there. No, yeah, happy little Merlins. And then a happy little Falcon 9. We're gonna paint a little lightning tower there. Oh yeah, there. We gotta beat the devil out of it. The deluge system. We gotta beat the devil out of it. All right, sorry. All right. Cool. Support time? Yes, support time. All right, cool. Scrapper, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat again, man. Thank you very much. Curious if any humans are on a Shortfall of Gravitas to button down Falcon for transit back. That's a great question. No, nobody's on that drone ship when the rocket goes to land. They're on support ships that are around the drone ship. The drone ship is autonomous. It can sail by itself, but that's frowned upon when you're sailing into a port. So there are recovery ships that go with it. Now, in terms of securing the vehicle, right, there is actually a tracked vehicle that is on the drone ship that pops out of a little garage on the side. It drives underneath the vehicle, grabs Falcon 9 by its hold down points autonomously, and then basically plops it onto the ground. That's called Octo Grabber. And that actually is what secures the vehicle to the deck. It's basically a big counterweight that goes underneath Falcon 9 so it doesn't skitch around on the drone ship when you're sailing back into port. But there are humans that are out there with the recovery ships to tow them back and obviously go out and make sure that Octo Grabber did its job. All right.
Strong back is now retracted into the 89-degree position. So that truss structure that you see to the left of Falcon 9 there, at T-0, it's going to throw back away. The reason why is because you don't want it to light on fire. And let's be real, right at this camera shot right here is going to get pretty hot pretty fast. So it's that gray truss structure to the right-hand side of your screen now. That is actually going to throw back away. So it's kind of getting in the retracted position. Think about it like a track runner, a sprinter for track and field. You know, take your marks, and then we're just waiting for the shot to go off here. Right now, we're 3 minutes and 30 seconds out. Sawyer, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. The excitement is real. Hopefully we'll see the gas closeout vents in just a couple of minutes, and hopefully we get that liftoff. I will chat with you after launch. I'm going to finish with my cameras here and go all in on the lens.
All right, buddy. We'll see you on the other side. So, Chad, it's just you and me for the time being. We are just coming up on 3 minutes. Once again, at about 2 minutes, we see what's called a ground gas closeout. The same propellants that we saw being pumped up, the transporter erector, are going to get vented overboard out the side. The reason why SpaceX does that, long story short, you don't want the launch pad on fire when the vehicle launches. You want the rocket to be shooting fire out the bottom, but you don't want your launch pad to go on fire, which brings me to a couple more steps here before, they activate the sound suppressor system. So if you guys look on the left and right sides of the rockets, there's 2 sets of towers. Those are going to spray water on the vehicle once we get inside of the 1 minute mark. They turn on right around 10 seconds, T-minus 10 seconds. At 1 minute, we'll get the go for auto sequence start. That's Falcon 9 startup. Auto sequencer start is the shuttle. Sorry about that. But, I like to keep up traditions. That's vehicle startup. That's basically when the computers on board the vehicle are controlling everything, and it's kind of, everybody in mission control kind of sits back and just gets ready to go. And then, once again, after that, you should get an LD confirming go for launch at T-minus 30, and then the sound suppression water system will turn on at T-minus 10. And then, once we get inside of 10 seconds, we get to the 0, you're going to see a nice big green flash come out the side of the flame deflector, and we are good to go for a launch. Okay, so once again, there's your ground gas closeout here. Once again, that's venting liquid oxygen out of the transporter erector lines to make sure that the pad doesn't catch on fire. And from here on out, guys, I will leave you with the sounds of the Falcon 9 launch. I'll see you on the other side, chat. Enjoy it.
Mission directors, go for launch.
And there you heard it, the LD is go for tonight's mission. So let's sit back and watch as...
Okay, and we got a liftoff of Falcon 9 rocket carrying the GPS-III SV09, the Ellison Onizuka Satellite 2, semi-synchronous medium Earth orbit. You were hearing the sounds of our cameras that we have all around there. How'd you like it, guys? It's pretty loud, right? Pretty good. Now, let's see. We're plus 1 minute into the flight. We should have gotten a good call for power and telemetry. The next kind of thing that's going to come up here is the vehicle's going to go supersonic, which means it's going to break the sound barrier. And then after that, we should run into maximum dynamic pressure. Maximum dynamic pressure is basically peak aerodynamic compression load being exerted on the vehicle. The plain English way of saying that is that the vehicle can't move the air out of the way fast enough. It gets kind of hung up on the front of the vehicle. So what SpaceX does is they throttle back the engines just for a second until the rocket gets a little bit higher. When they key the engines back on, when the air density gets thicker, because as you go up higher, there's less air. Right, your air density goes down. So we should be a little bit past the maximum dynamic pressure here, and the next step in the flight will be a quick succession of events happening in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You're going to see the 9 engines shut down on the first stage, and we should see a stage separation here. The second stage should get flung off of the first stage, and we should see upper stage ignition. Now, we talked about engine chilling. What they're doing right now on Falcon 9, right before MECO, is they are chilling down the second stage engine to make sure that it's primed and ready to go for ignition. That's going to happen here momentarily. And there it is. There's main engine cutoff. We should get a staging here. All right, we got a stage separation and upper stage ignition. Perfect. Got a beautiful shot of the Floridian Peninsula right there. You can see from Jacksonville all the way to Tampa Bay. I was about to say the Tampa Bay. Yeah, nobody calls it that. Beautiful ignition. Now you do see some plume interaction happening right there. The second stage gases are actually hitting the first stage, and that's what that kind of flashing is on the screen. We got a beautiful track here from our ground crews. Oh man. Oh, that's pretty. That's real nice. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a little bit. I'm getting some nerd chills, man. This is Jerry doing the track, and Jerry, oh, this is fantastic. Jerry Pike, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's nice. Okay, the next thing is fairing separation, which I do believe we just saw there. There's the fairing separation. That is the aerodynamic shell that is actually covering the GPS, the Global Positioning Satellite System. It's covering it, but now the second stage has gotten high enough to where there's really no air left up there. It's pretty much up into space at this point. So they jettison that fairing. Cool thing about the fairing, SpaceX will fish those out. In fact, on a previous Starlink mission, I believe it was the last Falcon 9 that SpaceX did launch, they launched it over the weekend, there were some thermal tiles on it. So if you're a Starship nerd, they put some Starship thermal protection system on those fairings because it's a great test bed for testing re-entry. SpaceX will fish those fairings out. They will bring them back. The fairings actually go through re-entry, and because they have what's called a very low ballistic coefficient, but a very high coefficient of drag, it's like dropping a paper from on top of a skyscraper. It's just going to sail all the way down right through re-entry, and then once it gets back down into the atmosphere, right, it's going to deploy a parafoil, and that fairing will land in the water like a seaplane. You believe that? I still think that's super cool. SpaceX will then send a recovery ship, either Bob or Doug. Those are their fairing recovery vessels. They're named Bob and Doug. I'm not kidding. They'll go fish them out and bring them back. They will reuse them. Part of SpaceX's real push for getting every part of that vehicle back. And we'll see them work on that with Starship. You see a fully reusable vehicle. Unfortunately, with Falcon 9, they don't bring the second stage back. But hey, bringing the fairings of the first stage back is pretty good, but we haven't gotten that far yet. So where are we at? We're T plus 5 minutes and 26 seconds. We're getting up to my favorite part, guys. This is my favorite part here, where the first stage, which has been coasting, just because the second stage separated it, doesn't mean it's going to get tossed aside in the ocean. SpaceX doesn't do that.
All right, the future is reusability. It's not just SpaceX doing that nowadays. Shout out to New Glenn. That was an amazing landing. Thank you very much. That was awesome. Loved every second of that. But SpaceX is going to try to reuse this stage. So in order what they need to do, that first stage flew on such a high trajectory that it will encounter some re-entry heating. So what's going to happen here is SpaceX is going to fire the engines on the first stage to actually slow the vehicle down and shield it from oncoming re-entry heating. It's called supersonic retropropulsion. There it is. That's my favorite part. So the gas is coming out of the rocket engine right there, acting like a heat shield. That is a heat shield protecting the first stage, enveloping it in a cool column of gas. This is my favorite part. I am nerding out. I'm nerding out right now. It's the best. So that's supersonic retropropulsion. That's what it's called. That's not just the name of my future progressive rock band, okay? I swear. So they fired one engine, they went up to 3 engines, they're gonna go back down to 1 engine, and then they're gonna shut it off. And from there, the hypersonic control surfaces called grid fins are gonna steer that Falcon 9 right back to that drone ship. Then once again, the drone ship is downrange. It's a little ways out. It's a little far out. Now, look, check that out. Left side of the screen. There is some plasma propagation on those grid fins. Those grid fins do get really, 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 really hot. But the grid fins are solid cast titanium, so they can withstand the heat. I don't know about you. I'm nerding out because we are seeing re-entry heating happening, and it's just being live streamed to your computer. I mean, I don't know. That's really cool. I do appreciate that. Now, meanwhile, right-hand side of your screen, second stage still doing its thing. We're 7 minutes, 24 seconds into the flight. Second stage now traveling at 21,500 kilometers an hour at 168 kilometers in altitude. First stage plummeting back down, 2,500 kilometers an hour, 12 kilometers off the deck. But if you notice, the first stage isn't firing any of its engines, but if you look at the bottom left, it is slowing down. It's slowing down because it's starting to get back into the atmosphere. Atmospheric drag is slowing the first stage down, but it's not going to slow it all the way down enough to, land it, right? It's not going to land it. That's enter the final phase of the first stage trajectory here, where they start the landing burn. The Falcon 9 will activate a single center Merlin 1D engine on the center of the rocket. That's the E9 engine. And hopefully we get a good touchdown here. We're 8 minutes, 10 seconds here. The landing burn has begun. You can see the hypersonic grid fins are still steering the vehicle, punching through the clouds here. Drone ship should be under the left grid fin. It's usually where it ends up. We got a lot of clouds low on the sea, low visibility. There's the drone ship. We see it. Grid fins doing the adjustment here. We got a good call on landing legs deploy, landing leg deploy, and we got a good touchdown. We got a good touchdown on the first stage. Stage 1 landing has been confirmed. 1096 lives to fly another day, completing its 5th mission.
Congratulations, SpaceX.
Mm-hmm. And then we did have second stage engine cutoff here. Second stage is shut down. We're looking at a staging velocity of 27,423 at 169 kilometers. Man, Sawyer, that first stage went right dead center on a shortfall at Gravitas. That's great.
Oh, yeah. I'm amazed how they still do it every time and how close they get it to center every time. I mean, yeah. Go SpaceX, go Falcon 9, continuing just to add to the impressive numbers. And most importantly, Payload getting into its first orbit. I mean, it still has about 90 minutes till it's deployed, but, benefit there too.
Yep. So we got a little bit of what's called a coasting period. So this thing SpaceX didn't just shoot this thing right up to medium Earth orbit, guys. What they're going to do is put it in what's called a parking orbit. And that's basically what we see right now. So we're just going to coast for a little bit of time here. We're going to sit back, relax, enjoy these replays from the launch here. And they'll coast, and then they'll fire the second stage engine again to boost it up to a higher orbit and then deploy the satellite. But we got a live replay there. I believe that one is Space Coast Live. There.
That is from Fleet Cam. That is our Fleet Cam over at Rusty's at the port, which is we pass by it basically when we come out for these Space Force launches.
Oh yeah, look at that, lighting up that Florida sky. That's beautiful. So once again, the satellite is in a little bit of a coasting period here. So we're gonna pipe back and watch some of these replays.
Yes, I will say the whole debate: East Coast, West Coast, West Coast, Best Coast, Satellite Coast, Best Coast. How about that? Coasting to its next burn.
That's a good one. What if you watched the Satellite Coast from Satellite Beach? Technically, that's on the East Coast.
Okay, now we're getting technical, but you make a good point.
Yeah. All right, so if you're just joining us right now, we're watching some replays from the GPS-III SV09 launch. This one is from the Fleet 2 camera here. Oh man, look at that thing go. I'm telling you, Chad, if you guys have never seen one of these go in real life, do yourself a favor. Get down there and see one. It doesn't matter if it's just a Starlink launch or a GPS launch like we see tonight, or even if you really high class, you want to go see the Artemis 2 launch. There's nothing like this. It is the coolest thing. I would say it's out of this world, but I'm not Sawyer, so.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I love your puns.
Thank you. That's what I thought you meant. I'm working on trying to get a photo for us here, by the way.
That's KSCO3, that camera there. Oh boy, look at that. You know, I know what you guys are gonna say. Like, wait, do you stop talking? Some guys, sometimes, when you're watching rocket launches, like, I know I'm a commentator. I know it's my job to talk. Sometimes I think it's right to just let the picture do the talking. Is that bad? I don't know. You guys tell me.
I mean, it has its moments, that's for sure. When you're watching it, it's tough because obviously I'm right next to the microphone that everyone hears, so I don't want to be shouting. But at the same time, I'm also like, "Go Falcon, go!" under my breath because it's still exciting. Again, I've seen almost 100 launches here at the Cape and more when you count ones from home, and it's still exciting every time, without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. That we just saw Gage's track there, and that's RO2 right there. These are the remotes. Gage was doing a remote track. He's actually not there. He was doing that track remotely, which is just fantastic. Look at that thing light up the sky. It's beautiful.
And this, I believe, is one of the replays from right here at the Space Force press site. Like I was saying about not talking over the microphone, sound came super quick today. So listen in. That doesn't get old. And again, from here, it was just beautiful. The sound came super quick because of how close we are. And just with the clear skies, it made for a beautiful sounding launch, too. So that was absolutely spectacular. Absolutely gorgeous.
Cool. Okay, so Sawyer, this might be your time to leave us, right? I think the Space Force is like, hey, you leave.
Yeah, kind of holding things up here. So let me, I'll leave you with a picture as I go with one quick one. Obviously, more will be coming, so keep an eye on the NSF socials and my socials as well. I'll be posting it there, of course, and there'll be more posted for our members. So if you're not a member, you might want to consider joining. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. EJ, always great to do a stream with you, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, chat.
All right. Thank you, Sawyer. And thank you, Max and Jerry, and all the field views that we have Gage doing the remote track. Guys, I'm going to stick with you here. We're going all the way to, we could go all the way to deployment. I don't know. I mean, we could do it. You guys tell us, we want to go all the way to deployment? I can talk your ear off for another 90 minutes if you really want to. It's up to you guys. Let's see. Producer Carson wants to go to bed. Okay. All right. We'll see. Let me go. Let me check. Listening to me in the background. All right, Star Traveler, right on. Put something in Discord for you. All right, cool. I'll check it out. All right. So give me one moment, please, fellas. We're watching the vehicle coast here for a second. Just got to ask a question here real quick. I will be back momentarily. Once again, this is the GPS-III SV09 launch here. I will be back in a moment. Okay, I am back here. Once again, this is the GPS-III SV09 launch coverage. Right now, you're watching a second stage coast over the North Atlantic here with the second stage for Falcon 9 with the global positioning satellite still attached to it. So look at that. We got a photo from Sawyer popping up on the stream here. That's why Sawyer wasn't talking during the launch, because he was taking this fantastic photo right there. Oh, baby, look at that thing. I like the, the rule of thirds framing here, Sawyer. Very, very good. Very good. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, guys, we got confirmation. You guys wanted it. We're gonna give it to. I just had to make sure Carson was down for it. He's down for it. Guess what? We're going to deploy, baby. We're going all the way to deploy. So deploy is a little ways away, but we're going all the way to it. So stick around here. Let's watch this sucker coast around in space for a little bit. That's pretty neat. And also enjoy these awesome photos. Like, guys, the other thing is, I'm not one big for merch plugin, but we have all these photos up on the website, shop.nasaspaceflight.com. You see that photo, you say, hey, I got to have that one on my wall. Go find it. It's there. That helps support our photographers that are out there in the quote unquote freezing Florida cold at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Freezing cold in quotation marks there. But if you do like the picture, head on over there. We have all different types of pictures of launches. You want to have a man cave in your basement with some rocket launch pictures? I mean, sporting teams are good. I'm just saying. Sporting teams are good. Rocket launches are better. Okay? I like sports. I like rocket launches. No York or Leeds. Well, maybe Leeds. We could put Leeds on there, I think. I think that'd be fine. Chris, what say you? He says he loves Leeds. That's weird. He said that in the back channel. I don't know why he'd say that. Oh man, look at that. We have some beautiful, beautiful views here. So right now, once again, the GPS is in a coast. This is what's called a parking orbit. So there's a couple of reasons why you'd put something into a parking orbit. Oh man, you could see Europe down there. Look at that. I do believe
the second stage is flying over Western Europe right now. It looks a little cloudy out there. I think that's the UK down there. I didn't really get a good look at it there. But they're in a parking orbit. So why would you have a parking orbit? These parking orbits are, one, to make sure you're in the proper phasing for the satellite. Satellite has to be basically in formation with the other satellites. You have to basically launch it at the right time and then coast it at the right time to put itself into the right orbit so the satellite gets in formation with the other global positioning satellites that are up there. Oh man, look at that. These views are fantastic. Chat, I know you're good at this. Don't tell me you're not. What city is that? What city did we just see? Thank you, EJ, Eric, and Cars. Hey, our pleasure. You guys know I love this stuff. If you don't know me, I do stream on Twitch. I'm over there. We're talking space flight. I'm playing all manner of goofy video games, fixing my snowblower on stream. But, you know, that's all fine and dandy. But rockets are my number one. I love them. I can't get enough of this stuff. The photos are fabulous. Us chicks love them too for the she sheds. That's what I like to hear, Linda. Let's go. Space for everybody. Let's do this. Heck yeah. It's the country of Europe. Oh, wow. You must be a pro. Does EJ prefer stubby? No. I am a purveyor of long nozzles. Thank you very much. Hey, Pat, what's going on? All right. This is good stuff. I'm just going to pop in the support queue. There's a couple of support messages there. I do appreciate it. Bones Sister with the $5 super chat. Hey, EJ, what's that thing you do with a loofah when you're in the shower? The word is escaping you. I don't know. It's escaping me too. And we have Pierce Petrie 7989 with a $2 super chat. Watching now at Daytona Airport cell phone lot. Hey, you know what? That's fine. Probably got a great view. Pierce, you tell me. If you pop in chat, let me know. I do watch the chat. That's my thing. Got a little bit of solid oxygen floating around the second stage there. So guys, what that is it's called SOx. No, it's not the thing that's on your feet. So if you look just at when they show the second stage there, you'll see a couple of vent lines that are pointed up at the top of the screen that are right before the rocket nozzle. Those are the venting lines that get purged when the engine shuts off. So the engine is using RP1 and liquid oxygen, but RP1, you can kind of leave it in the plumbing. But obviously, I don't know if you guys noticed, the engine isn't firing right now. So what SpaceX does is they purge out the engine with helium. Now, helium is not going to solidify in a vacuum. It'll stay as a gas. It'll try to, but helium is stubborn like that. So it'll stay as a gas. But because they're pushing all the liquid oxygen out, oxygen gets momentarily exposed to the vacuum of space. Now, once again, the vacuum is not cold. Space is not cold. It's not hot. It's nothing. Remember that. It's the absence of heat. It's absolute zero. So because of this, you see all those sparkles floating around? The helium will push the oxygen out the vent lines, and the oxygen will actually, because it goes through a depressurization of going from inside a pressurized line into the vacuum, that momentary depressurization will cause solidification. And that's why you see all those snowflakes floating around the vehicle. Because that's the solid oxygen. Well, that's the liquid oxygen that got turned to gaseous oxygen that got turned to solid oxygen when it got pushed out the vent line. That's why it looks like it's snowing. It looks like my house yesterday. Actually, your sock is on your hand right now. All right. Hey, whatever you need to keep it, warm, I guess. All right. So once again, we're looking at a map view here. This is where SpaceX doesn't have a signal through ground tracking stations. It looks like stage 2 is straddling the border between, it looks like, well, it actually looks like it's over Hungary right now. And then it's going to move out, kind of skirting the border between Romania and Ukraine here, out into the Caspian Sea. And it's going to come up on the Terminator line here. But SpaceX doesn't have ground track right now, which is why we're seeing the map view. You can always tell, okay, a little bit for the nerds that watch this stuff. If you're not well versed in watching a SpaceX stream, Okay, if you look at the bottom of the page, the timer is going up. See that you have the timer, you have the speed, and you have the altitude over there. Okay, if you look at those numbers and they really aren't changing, that means either A, this thing is in a perfectly circular orbit, which we know it's not because it's in a transfer or parking orbit where they're basically just going to shake down the vehicle, make sure everything's good, and get into the right phasing. Or they don't have a signal. Now, if you keep an eye on those numbers, they will eventually update when SpaceX gets a new acquisition of signal through a ground tracking station. You'll see the numbers update. They'll kind of roll over like an old cash register, like ching. You know, I wish it had made that noise. That would be really cool. But that means they have another acquisition of signal through another ground station. Now you can see stage 2 is about to cross what's called the Terminator line. Terminator is not the movie. The Terminator line is where basically where day and night starts. It's just morning out there, out on the Caspian Sea. Actually, that's not the Caspian, that's the Black Sea. I am very sorry. The Caspian Sea is the one that's to the east of that. Excuse me. And then, yeah, I'm remembering. So it's the Black Sea, Caspian, and, well, there was the Aral over there, but we don't talk about that. Now, stage 2 is basically over northern Turkey right now. Why can't it talk to the other Starlinks? Actually, Rover, that's a really good question. I knew someone was going to ask it. That's why I say this. Why doesn't it talk to Starlinks? Well, we have seen Falcon 9, Falcon 9 and Falcon 9 accessories. We have seen them using Starlink. The Polaris Dawn mission that flew with Jared Isaacman as the commander. They had what's called a Starlink placer in the trunk of a Dragon, and they were using Starlink to communicate. But the second stage still has its regular ground tracking antennas. Now, I know what people are going to say. Why isn't it using Starlink? Well, first and foremost, changing the antenna on a spacecraft is very complicated. It's a lot more complicated than you might think. Not necessarily because from a hardware standpoint, that's hard to do. No. You have to go through the FCC. There's mountains of paperwork. And don't get me wrong, could SpaceX get it done? Yeah, probably. But why? What's the point? The ground tracking stations are perfectly fine for what they do. They're not all SpaceX ground tracking station, guys. Believe it or not, the ground tracking stations are operated, they're operated by private companies, and they rent out time on the ground tracking stations. There's no dedicated SpaceX tracking stations around. I mean, there are from time to time, but most of these are rented time on a ground station. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Falcon 9 is the workhorse. It's not about upgrading the vehicle anymore. That's what Starship is for. So go with what you know and keep it working as long as it's working. You don't change anything, because then if you're not changing and upgrading the vehicle all the time, well, one, you don't have to fill out the mountains of paperwork, right? But also at the same time, you can also simplify your second stage and launch as much of it as possible. I mean, it wouldn't cost you that much more, right, to have a Starlink antenna on the second stage, but why do you need that? The ground tracking stations are perfectly sufficient for this mission. There's no need to add complexity to the vehicle. More connectivity is not going to make the mission more or less reliable. Ground tracking stations, if anything, they work. SpaceX knows they work. So stick with what you know. That's a great question. Taurus Littoral landing site for Apollo 17 was named after the Taurus Mountains in southern Turkey. Oh, that's cool, Kevin. I didn't know that. Okay, it looks like, so we're getting a shot piped in. We're getting a shot piped in here. Well, we're watching the GPS-III SV09 mission coast, and we have reacquisition of signal with the ground tracking stations. That's why we got visuals from the second stage. But if you look on the left side of your screen, where Carson is splitting it up here for me, it looks like an SPMT broke. That's at our Starbase live cameras that are covering that are giving us live streams from SpaceX's South Texas launch sites, Starbase, right? And it looks like the SPMT broke. It looks like the SPMT broke. Ooh, I can't really tell what's going on there. Usually, okay, so it looks like it's a little bit tilted. Now that SPMT stands for self-propelled modular transporters. These things are what SpaceX used to move around stuff that's really heavy. Now, what is it carrying? What is that SPMT carrying right there? If you notice, it's those triangles. They look, those things with the triangles on them, they look like big blocks of metal. I know it looks like big blocks of metal, but I'll tell you, they're not just big blocks of metal. They're actually really, really heavy. That's cast. Those are cast blocks. Those are the counterweights that the cranes that SpaceX uses down at Boca Chica or at Starbase to move stuff around. You know, if you're going to move something heavy, you got to have a heavy counterweight. Those are the counterweights for the crane. So how heavy are those? Oh, yeah. They're actually really heavy. One of those blocks is 10,000 kilograms, or about 22,000 pounds. And it has a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Fun fact, they stack like Legos. Seriously, they're just really heavy adult Legos for counterweights for a crane. And there's also a Cybertruck there, and that is in fact not as heavy as those. For reference here, one of those crane counterweights is, let's say 2.5 Cybertrucks. I'd say that's about right. Now, once again, we're looking at our Starbase live views. That's down in South Texas. That's down in Starbase. It's right in the name. It's pretty good. But this is coverage for the GPS-III SV09 mission, which is what you see on the box on the right. Now, once again, see those numbers, right? Those numbers are updating, which means we have a ground tracking station view where we're connected into a ground tracking station. And if I'm looking at that right, we have a beautiful view. I think that's the Red Sea. And that looks like Suez Canal, I think. Look at that. Can you imagine? A half hour ago, this thing was in Florida. Now it's over the Middle East. That's crazy. Is it Dubai, guys? Oh, nice. So we're looking at the Gulf of Aden. Very good. Very good. I'm a little bit of a geography nerd. I love looking at this stuff. It was Qatar in the Gulf. All right. Hey, I was close. I was real close. All right. It's doing pretty good. Now, sometimes it's hard to extrapolate where they are, especially right now, because it's just sand. I got to see a coastline or something. But once again, you can see some of those solid oxygen flakes flaking around there. Oh, dude. Okay. Guys, I don't mean to be like, would you just look at it? But look at that view. That's a pretty good view. This is a live shot from a second stage from a rocket that launched in Florida that's over the Middle East right now, carrying a global positioning satellite being live streamed to your computer with my pretty good commentary. Just okay commentary, all right? It's okay. Look at that. What a view. I thought it was Arrakis. Oh, well, watch out for the worms then. Look at that. What do you mean? Your commentary is great. I try to take myself down a peg or two, Lunax. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to get too full of myself. That happens a lot in the live streaming world. You guys are saying it's good. Twitch chat over there is saying it's mid. I'm like that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Doing a great job. Thanks, Holly. How are you? What's your Twitch channel? EJ_SA. You could see it being cast over there, but hey, don't go anywhere. We're still peeping this stage here. Look at that. So once again, we are watching the satellite coast. Satellite and the second stage are coasting right now. They are in what's called a slightly eccentric parking orbit here. Now, I've been saying it's in a parking orbit here, but I'm watching those numbers down there. That's what I like doing. Got some nerd energy going on here. So now, okay, take a look at this. So if you guys look, the speed
in kilometers an hour, bottom left, it's going down very slowly, but altitude is going up. So what does that mean? So that means that the orbital eccentricity of this satellite in second stage is above zero. Now, I know that there's some people in the back going, yeah, I know what those words mean. No, what I'm trying to tell you is that from looking at those numbers, you could figure out that the orbit is not a perfect circle. It's egg-shaped. So that means that, the highest point in the orbit is not equal to the lowest point in the orbit. But we are in orbit. We could tell from the velocity. The velocity 26,632 is that's definitely fast enough. So we're in a slightly egg-shaped orbit. It's called an elliptical orbit or slightly eccentric orbit for the nerds. It looks like on Starbase they got the SPMT running. Now, those self-propelled modular transporters are actually hydraulic. They use a diesel engine that's generating electricity that turns a hydraulic pump, and the wheels are actually using a hydraulic motor. It's basically a fluid impeller that gets hydraulic fluid pumped through it, and that's how they move it around. That's the motors on board. And once again, they have a lot of wheels, and you can hook up even more. It's like Voltron. The more you hook up, the better it gets, or the heavier thing you can move, right? So those hydraulic motors, if you lose hydraulic pressure, it'll stop and it'll start to tilt over because SPMTs also have adjustable ride height. They can kind of crouch down and get underneath stuff and lift them up. In this case, crane counterweights. Is it headed to apogee to do its second burn? I will look at those numbers in a second, Star Traveler, I'll be able to show you. But it looks like they did fix it, the leak or well, it looks like they may have picked up a wheel. Sometimes with these things, they get a little finicky. So what do you do? You just shut off the wheel that's leaky if that's happening. And in order for the hydraulic motors to work, right, and in order for this thing to actually like kind of stand up, change its ride height and whatnot, you can't lose hydraulic pressure. The worst thing for anything with hydraulics, guys, is having air in the line. That's terrible. So what they do is they'll usually pick up a wheel, right? So let's look at that SPMT as it goes by. If a wheel is raised, that means that one is being a little, little finicky. So, Star Traveler, you asked, is it headed to apogee for its second burn? Let me take a look at those numbers. Yep, and looks like we got some lights off in the back there. Now, they have lights to illuminate the wheels at night, so you could see if, you could see all the machinery because, yeah, you can see if it's leaking. It looks like they got a light off right there, and it looks like one of the wheels is kind of straggling along there. See that one in the back with the lights off? I'm going to go ahead and guess that whatever problem this thing had, it had over there. And once again, you hear that sound of the SPMT. Those are hydraulic motors. The wheels are actually powered by a hydraulic motor, which is just something that looks like an electric motor with a fluid impeller in it that they shoot high-pressure hydraulic oil into, and it turns it like a fan. And that thing that's hanging off the back is your power pack for the SPMT. You can also hook up as many of those as you want, depending on how heavy the thing is you're moving. And depending on how many of the SPMTs you hook up. And then you could see the dude riding in the lawn chair on the back. Yep, that's the driver. He's controlling the vehicle. Now, once again, this is the GPS-III SV09 coverage, but also we like SPMTs here. I don't know about you guys. I am a little bit of a mechanical nerd. I like anything with wheels, anything that floats, anything that flies, anything that launches. I am in, So let's take a look. Let's look at these numbers here. So we see, okay. So the speed is still slowing down, 26,500 and change at 382. We're in what's called an elliptical orbit, meaning that the high point of the orbit is different than the low point of the orbit. That's called eccentricity or an eccentric orbit. It's not very eccentric. So this is a slightly egg-shaped parking orbit here. Now, Star Traveler in chat asked, are they coasting to apogee? So for the people that don't understand what that means, apogee is the cool nerd way of saying the high point in your orbit around a celestial body. Apogee. It's a a variation of the word apoapsis. And what apoapsis means is the high point in an orbit around a celestial body. The name actually changes depending on what celestial body you're around. Around Earth, it's apogee because Gaia. That's the kind of fun name for Earth. Now, here, what is it around the moon? The high point in an orbit around the moon is called a apiloon. Or an apocyline, depending on your mythological creature or person that we name the moon after. What about the sun? So the sun, a high point or a low point in an orbit, a high point in an orbit around the sun would be apohelion. Because the sun, the Greek name for the sun is Helios. And the low point in a solar orbit would be perihelion, right? They change. So are we coasting to apogee right now? Yes. Our speed is still going down, but if you notice, it's going down at a much slower rate, which means we are approaching the apogee. We're approaching the high point of this orbit. I don't think, Star Traveler, that they're going to do the burn at apogee. I think they're going to, judging by our coasting time here, we're about 45 minutes in, which means we're about, at this altitude, we're about halfway around the world from the launch site. I think they're going to burn at perigee. Perigee is the low point in your orbit around Earth. We don't say so. Somebody over in the Twitch chat just asked me about what is it called around Uranus? You know what? I don't know. Go look it up. It's apocintherian for Venus. All right, there you go. Yeah, it changes depending on the celestial body. It's just a good way of knowing. It's a good naming convention for knowing what, you can say apogee. That means, okay, that's a high point in an orbit around Earth. Now, if you guys also notice, the vehicle has a slight roll to it. So it looks like, if we played like, some classical ballet music, I don't want to do it because, YouTube gets all antsy in their pantsy. You know what I mean? But it has a slight roll component, what's called a roll rate being exerted on the vehicle. So roll rate like this, they're doing that to manage thermals on the stage. If you didn't it's called a barbecue roll. If you didn't do this, one side of the vehicle, it gets extremely hot and the other side gets extremely cold. That differential temperature that you have on one side of the other vehicle can cause complications, namely with the propellants. You want kind of everything to be on a nice barbecue. Like it's like putting chicken on a spit and just, spinning it and, slow cooking. They're slow cooking the second stage for what's called propellant management. Remember, the second stage has liquid oxygen in it, which is really, really cold. The sun up there, or let's say the sunlight, if we really want to be technical, really, really hot. That's the opposite of that. You have to make sure that your propellants don't overheat, specifically on one side of the vehicle. So in order, instead of having one side of the vehicle get really hot, the other side of the vehicle get really cold, they have all sides of the vehicle getting just a little bit warm. That's why we have a slight roll component to the vehicle. If you look at Earth back there, you can see that we're rolling just a little bit. So let's take a look at these numbers again. We're at 26,385 at 410. We're approaching the high point in the orbit. Now, guys, spaceflight is a little bit weird. All right, if you're not well versed into how spacecraft fly around, believe it or not, it is. I know what people are going to say. Well, this is the high point in the orbit. Aren't you closer to where you need to go, closer to your destination? Wouldn't this be the right time to burn? No, it wouldn't. When you are at a high point on orbit around a celestial body, your potential energy is maximized and your kinetic energy is minimized. Long story short, you're not going as fast at a high point because gravity's trying to pull you back. All right? You're only going to start accelerating once you get past the apogee or the high point in your orbit. Right now, despite being from altitude-wise, being closer to your final destination is actually the most inefficient time to try and put this thing up into a higher orbit. Now, we have relight of the second stage and deployment of the satellite in about another 45 minutes, give or take, right? Give or take. Meaning that we're going to have to go do one more revolution or a half revolution around the planet. That The low point in your orbit, or perigee, is where your kinetic energy is maximized. Basically, you're going the fastest and your potential energy is minimized. That, believe it or not, despite being a lower altitude, is actually the most efficient time to send this thing to a higher orbit. Because playing around in the Gravwell can be a little bit counterintuitive at times. But yeah, that's how it works. If you're going faster at perigee and you burn and you go faster on top of already going fast, you could basically surf Earth's gravitational Gravwell, right? Gravitational field, right? You surf that thing to push that satellite up to a higher orbit. That's part of the reason, and SpaceX did this with the second stage ascent trajectory. They probably sent it into this eccentric orbit so they could utilize that kind of, I would call it a free velocity gain, but they did gain it with the second stage ascent trajectory, right? So what it's going to do is basically burn when it's going the fastest. So we should see a burn here. Like I said, we're a little ways out from that. It's going to be a little bit of time. This phenomenon of doing a burn to boost your orbit at the fastest point during an orbital period is called the Oberth effect. Hermann Oberth, who's a German physicist, is the guy that kind of came up with this. It basically means burn when you're going the fastest if you want to go higher. Like that's I could go into the math if you really want to. That's the plain English way of saying it. Anyway, I'm going to plug through a little bit of support queue with you guys here. Let's see what we got. Unplugged Lamp 1, $10 super chat. Great launch. Looking forward to Artemis 2. Plan to come in person. Okay, hope you got your plane tickets. It's gonna get a little wild down there. Got some pretty extensive plans to cover all the dates. Go SLS, go Orion, go Artemis 2. Go NSF. Hey, thanks Unplugged. We appreciate you. Right on. Please do the math. I like math. Oh, don't call me out, dude. Don't call me out like that, Murphy. Please don't do that. I'll do it wrong, dude. I'll do it wrong, and I'll do it wrong on stream, and I can't be doing that. I don't do math in public. Scott Brotherton with a $5 tip. Thank you very much, dude. All right, this was the first Falcon launch that the vapor trail had such a huge bend in it. It seems like there was a large upper wind component. Yeah and no. Most likely they're doing okay. So during the ascent, more nerd stuff is happening here. During the ascent, they're most likely doing a slight dogleg trajectory. The wind, they'll take into account windage. All right, shooting off one of these things is like, if you were going hunting or something and say your game is far away, right? You have to take into account the windage, right? So you can make sure you get a good steak dinner or venison dinner or something, right? The rocket does take into account windage. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not just fire it. Well, I hope the wind's good. The rocket has onboard computers called an inertial guidance system. The inertial guidance system is measured by IMUs that are on board, or inertial measuring units. They basically can extrapolate where the vehicle's going and what it's doing by its acceleration. And that the acceleration is measured on all 6 axes of the vehicle, right? So they can actually see, Scott, if the vehicle, actually the onboard computer will see if the wind is pushing it and it'll compensate. So a turn in the trajectory like that is most likely intentional. And by most likely, I mean it's absolutely intentional. So they probably did that. My guess would be because they targeted the end of the launch window and they had to slightly take a left turn at Albuquerque during ascent. That's the Bugs Bunny, but you get the idea. But yeah, no, that does happen. The second stage does do what's called a dogleg trajectory. Now, you don't necessarily see that with GPS launches in the past, but it does happen. And like I said, it's probably because they targeted the end of the launch window. Good question, though. That was good. I like that. Did we put a poll for an EJ Coffee Fund? What is this? Oh, no. What is that? Oh, I don't, dude, I don't, Kevin, I don't think I need more coffee, dude. I think I'm good. Anyway, hope you like coffee. I mean, I do. Okay, so have we gotten past apogee yet. It's hard to say, guys. We are so right now the second stage is out over the Indian Ocean, and we don't have a signal. Once again, if you're not well versed in watching SpaceX streams with a coasting period when they do actually stream it, if you look down the timer at the bottom of the screen, the timer is the only thing that's updating the numbers, which means we're between ground stations right now. We probably will get one here once it gets up to the west coast of Australia. We're kind of, I would say we're coming up on Perth, but it's not. We're gonna miss. We're going south of Australia. EJ needs iron brew. I do like iron brew. Iron brew is pretty good. Iron brew is good stuff. Actually, one of my buddies, one of my moderators over there is a meteorologist in my Twitch chat. And actually, Scott, now, dude, I may stand corrected. The upper level winds did get a little gusty tonight, dude. You might be right. You might be right. There were increased winds aloft. Weather balloon from 00 Zulu. Yeah, you may have been right. I may have been wrong. That's cool. Good observation, man. Remember, it's not one or the other, too, as well. It could be both. Rocket science is complicated like that. Seems frozen, but let's see what happens. We should get an acquisition of signal here in a moment. Does the apogee... Okay, there's a question from coming over from Huzzah over in Twitch chat. Does the apogee-perigee of Earth change based on its rotation, orbit, and location? For a satellite orbiting around Earth, yes, absolutely. It very much depends on where you launched from, the direction that you launched from, so that would be flight azimuth, the direction on a compass that you launched from, and the launch site's northern or southern latitude would really, really, really change. Mostly that changes inclination. So the tilt, but yeah, that absolutely makes a difference, dude. So once again, we're watching the GPS-III SV09 launch. This the GPS satellite was launched on a SpaceX Falcon 9, and right now we're watching stage 2 and the satellite coast around the world before they do the final insertion orbit and deploy of the vehicle. Liftoff occurred at 11:53 p.m. Eastern Time, and it was a beautiful ascent. The first stage that flew today is booster 1096 on its 5th flight. It did do a downrange landing at about T plus 8.5 minutes on a Shortfall of Gravitas. So we did see a good landing on the first stage. It landed right dead center on that drone ship, and now we're just waiting to watch this second stage coast, and we're waiting to see a satellite deploy. Right now, stage 2 is way out over the Indian Ocean, passing kind of southern. It's kind of south of Australia here. It looks like we're a couple thousand kilometers southwest of Perth, Australia, which is on the west coast. Please calculate that for us. No, math in public. It's late, man. I need more coffee. Gabriel, did you ever come to the Cape and see a launch in person? Oh yeah, many times. I lost track of how many I've seen. That's a lot. Where do I store all this information? Guys, I know it's easy because you can't see me right now. Like there's no camera. I store all this off the top of my head. Anything about orbital mechanics, you can ask me. I have it. I know it cold. Okay, why do I know it cold? Well, one, I read about it a lot. 2, and this is going to be the funny thing, I played way too much KSP. I played way too much Kerbal Space Program back in the day. I have over 20,000 hours in that game. All right? If I don't have it memorized, I'm going to kill Jeb, and we don't want to do that. Trust me, that's not a good idea. I've done it many times, and the internet has busted my chops every single time. Like, I know people are going to be like, yeah, okay, pal, you're reading off a cue card. No, I mean, sometimes I do, but I like to let it be known if I had to look something up. Okay, so we are about 35 minutes out from a deploy here. Noted, alien. All right, I'm going to plow through the support queue here real quick. So we got Revhead with a 5, what is that, pound? Oh, yeah, pounds. Oh, yes. Oh, boy, we got 5 pounds sterling here, Super Chat. Thank you very much, mate. I'm spending that on McVitie's. I'm not going to lie to you. Hey, commentators got to eat too. And we got Houdini. We got Houdini with a $5 Super Chat. Thank you. You magical magician man or something. When is the satellite release? Well, they got to do a boost here real quick. So Fickman, they have to boost this thing. This thing's going to get shot up to what's called a medium Earth orbit. Medium Earth orbits are okay. I'm doing this out on the calculator. I'm not doing the math off the top of my head. They are 12,000 mile apogee orbits, and if we wanted to put that into kilometers, times that by 1.6, they are 19,200 kilometers apogee. It's a long way up there. Basically what they gotta do is accelerate the vehicle to the right speed to get it so the high point in the orbit is way up there. And then they should deploy a little bit later. Seriously. Okay. All right, what is that? Ord Cloud, $20 Super Chat. Hey, thank you very much. First we had EJ Trenson, now we got EJ Launch? Oh yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say this out loud on stream, and I'm putting that out on the internet, because once you put it out on the internet, you can't take it back. Guys, this is the start of a concerted effort for me to try and be here on more NSF streams. Okie dokie? And all the producers just went, oh no, not this guy. I'm going to try to be here a little bit more, okay? So hopefully we enjoy what 2026 has to offer in terms of launches here with NSF coverage. Oh, clip it. Oh, no, don't clip it. No, it's fine. It's fine. And Twitch chat, don't think I'm not reading that chat either. I see you guys over there. I haven't forgot about you. That's where I usually do my coverage, guys. But you know, I like the global positioning satellite system. GPS is a very, very, very cool and I think very underappreciated satellite system. I would say that is a feather in the United States' infrastructure cap, so to speak. Just as vital as a shipping lane. Or even the highways or railroad tracks. Like in the U.S., we use our railroad tracks for freight, but you know, all the Europeans, I can hear them like, you should have more trains. I mean, I don't disagree. I like trains. Right? Trains are awesome. But this is a vital piece of infrastructure. You use it every day. You know, I would assume that people are watching this because you like spaceflight, guys. You know, if you like spaceflight and you let people know about it, you usually get people that are like, well, what has spaceflight done for me lately? Well, all right. Have you ever used GPS? Yeah, that's kind of important. That's pretty cool. We like that. You just say stuff like that. Easy peasy. Oh, yeah, I use that a lot. Yeah, I know. That's because of spaceflight. That's pretty cool. Clip it and ship it. Oh, Jerry, you're killing me right now. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Yeah, right. Okay. So, guys, I did misspeak. It's too much coffee. You gave me too much coffee. I apologize. Relight, we should be coming back up on it actually pretty soon. Yep. Okay. Take a look. We have a reacquisition of signal here because we're getting on boards. Now, I don't know if you guys just saw that a second ago. Look, the engine is venting down. What they're doing is they're re-chilling down the engine's turbine machinery to get ready to fire it. See the big vent? They're trickling liquid oxygen in from the second stage here. Well, it's obvious it's from the second stage. It's the only thing that's there, guy. All right, so they're trickling propellants in here from the second stage liquid oxygen tank. That's the better way of saying that. And basically what that's doing is behind that space blanket right there is the turbo pump for the engine. Now, what is a turbo pump? Just in case anybody's wondering, it's a jet engine, right? Think a jet engine, but it's a jet engine that's not designed to create thrust. I mean, it does. Creates a little bit of thrust, and that gets shot through that really, really nice flexi hose into the nozzle right there. That's what that big shiny thing is on the front of the nozzle. But it's a jet engine that instead of providing thrust, it's used to spin a drive shaft. And the drive shaft leads to your two fluid impellers. One of them is for RP1 and the other one is for liquid oxygen. When the jet engine ignites, once again, it spins the pumps. But in order for it to do that, it has to be chilled down. And that's what those vent lines are there for. They're there to make sure that you don't dry fire the rocket engine in space. You got to chill it down, and you have to make sure that your turbine machinery, your fuel pumps are at the right operating pressure, or else the engine won't fire correctly. I don't know if you guys noticed, Uncle Sam's payload on the front of this, kind of expensive. You probably want to make sure you do that. SpaceX is really good at this. They do this all the time. So yeah, you see that vent line that's kind of spewing out stuff all over the place. What it's doing is spewing out gaseous oxygen, and some of it is solidifying. Now, when that vent closes, that's when we should see the relight. Okay. There we go. We got the mission timelines back up on the screen here. The numbers are updating. So our speed is 26,320 at 424. Now, if you guys notice, look, speed is going up. Altitude is going down, meaning we are past our apogee here. So I did say that we were going to utilize the O-berth effect a little bit. It doesn't look like it's needed for this one. This is much more about making sure you put the satellite in the right orbit. The global positioning satellites have, GPS constellation has 6 orbits. There's 6 different orbits, and there's 6 satellites per orbit, 36 operational. I mean, it varies because they replace them and they phase them out, et cetera, et cetera. Right? But this is not necessarily for performance here. This is very much for making sure you put the satellite in the right spot. That's kind of important. So once again, we're coming up on a timeline, point in the timeline called Second Stage Engine Start 2, or SES2. Should be just happening here momentarily. 30 seconds past 103 here.
Vac ignition.
We got a good call for second stage ignition. There you go. You saw some of the solid oxygen break off of the vent line and hit the nozzle there. That's normal. All right, so now we're accelerating. What's happening here is once again, we're not necessarily utilizing O-berth here. We're a little bit past apogee. Right now, the perigee and the apogee are flipping positions, right? And the apogee is pushing out to 19,200 kilometers up. But in order to do that, we have to accelerate to a certain speed. Remember, with spaceflight, your range is not measured in distance. Spacecraft range is measured in the amount of velocity that you can change. Speed is what denotes where you can and can't go in spaceflight. That change in velocity in rocketry is called delta V. We have to make sure that we reach the right speed to get to the right apogee to be able to deploy this satellite. And there we go. We got shut down there. And once again, just like the initial ascent insertion burn, you could see that the vent line is going. Right now, helium is being used to purge out any extra oxygen inside of the engine. The reason why you're doing that is you don't want to leave that liquid oxygen in there. It'll rust things. It'll rust things on the motor that you need to fire again. Liquid oxygen makes stuff rust bad. You think if you live in the salt belt like I do, that salt rusts things? No, liquid oxygen is even worse. So, what's our staging velocity here, or our engine shutdown velocity? Looks to be around 33,795 here at 421 kilometers. Now, what you should see, what you were seeing now, because we have the ground tracking station, is our velocity is going down. and our altitude is going up, meaning that we pushed apogee way higher, right? And the stage should be, the stage should be slowing down, and it absolutely is. Okay, so once again, guys, you're watching the GPS-III SV09. I am EJ. I'm a commentator for NASA Spaceflight here, and we are T+1 hour, 5 minutes, 57 seconds into the mission. At least that's what the timer showed when I popped in. Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. We should be coming up here on spacecraft separation. Spacecraft separation is about 90 minutes into the flight, which is about an hour. I think the precise time is an hour and 29. Oh, thank you, chat. Thank you, Clarence. Separation is 1 hour, 29 minutes, 19 seconds. Thank you very much. Now, guys, we did have some of our crew out there to cover the launch here, and it looks like we have some pictures coming in from the news desk here, from the from the NSF KSC news desk. We got pictures from Jerry here of the ascent. Oh, baby. That's a nice picture. Jerry did a good job there. And Jerry did a good job with the tracks. He has these remotes set up. He's a remote camera set up. He did a track. He did the track of the vehicle all the way out to main engine cutoff. Talk about a talented melon farmer. That's Jerry Pike for NSF here. You can see Sawyer's out there and Max is out there too. Great pictures. Once again, guys, you can, if you see that picture, catches your eye. We do have these pictures up at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. I said shop.nasa. Hey, say the URL right, buddy. Oh, really? That's a good idea. Shop.nasaspaceflight.com. If you want to check out any of these pictures, any of them catch your eye, we post them on there. You want to support our photographers, you want to support our launch crews. Anytime you buy a print, most of that money goes right to the photographer. So we do appreciate the support. Thank you very much. If you're just here for the vibes, that's cool too. We appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. So right now, stage 2 is just, it's a little ways south of New Zealand. Here, going out over the Pacific. And we are out of ground track as well. Are we there yet? No. Just chill. Hey, sit down and be quiet. I don't care if you have to go to the bathroom. Wrong. There is no bathroom. No, sorry. It's just getting a little late over here. Carson will turn this car around, and he is the producer, okay? He's at the wheel. I'm just the co-pilot. Hey, Carson, turn left at Albuquerque, please. Has Jack been giving you pointers? No, not lately. I have my hat. My hat is on my head. I mean, I can't show you because there's no webcam, but... All right. So once again, this is the GPS-III SV09 mission. We are at T plus 1 hour, 9 minutes, 34 seconds here. Second stage has done its second stage engine burn here, and we should be coming up on deploy in, I do believe it's actually in about 20 minutes. Yeah, 1 hour, 29 minutes, 19 seconds on deploy. So we got about 20 minutes here till they pop that satellite off the top. Sounds like somebody hit the coffee a little too hard. You know what, Jarvis? I just love what I do. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous. I love what I do. I love covering stuff for NSF. I love space.
Also, you know, in the same breath, I'm not going to say that I haven't had coffee today. I will not disclose how much it was or when it was ingested. I'll just say it was in the AM, and we'll just leave it at that. I love coffee. I work off that stuff. So does most of the NSF team supporting me. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here. We got Carson bringing up the production here, and then, you know, all the talented producers over at over there doing their thing. They really I'm just the voice here. Like that's what you hear, but that's not the whole story, you know what I mean? But anyway, we're kind of in a little bit of a signal blackout, so we just have the map view, but we're crossing the Terminator again here. And as stage 2 flies out over the Pacific here. EJ, it's 1:04 a.m. So are you talking within the last 24 hours of a day AM or in the last 64? Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't really leave myself an out because in my mind it's still Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Oh, okay. Walked into that one, Carson. All right. Well, you know, that's good. All right. So we are inside of 20 minutes till we see a deploy the satellite. The reason why there's a delay in the deploy, guys, is because they're going to coast out over the Pacific. And in 20 minutes, because I don't know if you guys looked at that speed down there in the bottom left, it's going pretty fast. It doesn't take long to cross the Pacific when you're going 33,530 kilometers an hour. Little bit of a fun fact here. So the Global Positioning Satellite System is operated by Uncle Sam. It's part of the Space Force. Space Force oversees it, okay? And because of this, the Space Force wants to make sure that they see when the satellite gets deployed. And they also want to make sure that that Global Positioning Satellite is over a ground tracking station where they can see it. So Stage 2 is going to coast across the Pacific here. And once it gets out over the coast, out over the west coast of the United States, which is, it's in the dark basically, but they'll be able to see it. That's why they'll be able to see it with their antennas, with their tracking equipment. That and SpaceX will have contact with a ground station, so we should be able to see a live feed of the deploy. The reason why they stagger the deploy is because, well, they want to make sure that, you know, they could. Well, they want the Space Force. Uncle Sam wants to be sure that they could see everything when it goes to deploy. You don't want to deploy it when you don't have a ground track signal. Now, to be very fair, you could deploy it right now. But Uncle Sam doesn't want to do that. So SpaceX is waiting until they get to the other side of the Pacific here, which, like I said, when you're going 33,530 kilometers an hour, it's not going to take very long. It's going to take about 15 more minutes. How fast is that in Mach? Jay, it's about, let's see. Let me think. 30? Now, keep in mind, Mach number is not discerned from just velocity. Mach number really is discerned from air pressure and humidity, meaning you have to have air to really be going a Mach speed. But in an ideal system, right, Mach speed is around 343 meters a second, or about 768 miles an hour, or about 1,000 kilometers an hour. You know, if we just, you know, you do some basic math, actually, it's 33,530. Mach is around 1,000, so it's going Mach 33. But keep in mind, you don't really measure spacecraft flight. You don't really measure spacecraft flight in Mach number. Just to be very sure. Twitch chat's asking, how fast is that in armadillos per minute? Any unit but the metric system, huh? I don't know. Yes?
Yeah, Mach chicken. We'll go with Mach chicken. That's right. I like to use Mach so I can visualize the speeds on Earth. Yeah, yeah, no problem, Jay. Absolutely. So yeah, about Mach 33 and change. Yeah, 33. That's pretty fast. I mean, guys, do some math out. Like, let's say, like, if you had a high-powered rifle to, like, go hunting or something, right? I'm going to show my gun nerd for a second here. If you have a 308, and you have a hunting rifle, say you have like a Remington R700, right? That's a really high-powered cartridge, right? You use that for hunting. That's coming out at Mach 2. Give or take. Around Mach 2. Somewhere in there. This thing is going Mach 33. It makes a rifle bullet look like a snail. That's why I like spaceships, because they go fast, and man, do I like going fast. All right? But once again, we're watching the GPS-III SV09 mission. I am EJ, a commentator here for NASA Space Flight. We're a little bit later in the mission. We should be coming up here on satellite deploy in about a little under 15 minutes here. So once again, this mission was launched on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Falcon 9 is a two-stage launch vehicle. The first stage with a reusable first stage and reusable fairings. The first stage took, the vehicle lifted off at 11:53 Eastern Standard Time, 11:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, did a perfect descent. First stage landed down on the drone ship, T+8 minutes. Second stage had a good parking orbit insertion. It coasted for about 45 minutes till it got to second stage engine start, performed a nominal second stage engine start into the final insertion burn, and now we're just waiting on the satellite deploy. Satellite deploy is scheduled for T+1 hour, 29 minutes, 19 seconds. So once again, we're getting pretty close. You know, Carson is saying in the back channel that it's like NASCAR. Well, guess what? If you're in a prograde orbit, you are going fast and you're turning left. Just saying. I mean, if you're in a retrograde orbit, you're going fast and turning right, which that's hurting my American sensibilities. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have to go fast and turn right. That's wrong. No, that's no good. Retrograde is a good word. Orbital mechanics has a lot of really cool words like aphelion, which we've been over, right? You guys know what that means. Aphelion, perihelion, argument of perigee, right angle of ascending node, eccentricity, inclination, semi-major axis. Huh? Yeah, those are pretty good. There's a lot of good ones. Right now, stage 2 is in a very eccentric orbit with apogee at around 19,000 kilometers, and perigee about 400, give or take. Nominal. That's not one, but we like saying that, Brian. Once again, mission elapsed time is T+1 hour, 19 minute, 53 seconds. Here of the GPS-III SV09 mission. We are inside of 10 minutes to satellite deploy. Now, if you're wondering why they're not, they're in the right orbit to deploy the satellite. If you're wondering why they're waiting to deploy this thing, well, if we look at this map view, the stage is out basically in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's kind of flying more or less near Hawaii at this point. But what the Space Force really likes is they like it when you're in range. Oh, there's the ground tracking station acquisition, a signal that just popped in. See the numbers updated? Ching. Right? See, it's like it makes cash register noises in my mind, okay? So what they're doing here is waiting till one of the Space Force's high-powered antennas that's in North America is basically in line of sight of the vehicle. That's why we have such a late deploy here. It just went from 499 to 2430. Yep. And look, now that we have a reacquisition of signal, we got onboard views. Oh man, look at that chunk of solid oxygen. Look at that thing. That is from basically passivating the turbine machinery on the engine. The reason why they do that is because you don't want to leave liquid oxygen sitting inside something metal. It'll rust it really bad. Oxygen oxidizes things. Yeah, great commentary, I know. The best scientific phrase is RUD. J. Floyd, we don't want to talk about that when there's an operational mission. But yes, you're right, but we don't. Ooh. We don't want to talk about that. So once again, deploy here is at T plus 1 hour, 29 minutes, 19 seconds. We're looking at a shot here, basically on the top of the second stage. That cylindric thing that's kind of dead center in the shot here is what's called a payload attachment fitting, or PAF. Now, as soon as I say that, they switch back to the rocket camera. That's cool. That's the rocket engine. I don't think I need to say what that thing does. Right? There we go. That cylindric structure with the wires that are zip tied to it, that is a payload attachment fitting, or PAF. On top of the PAF is a decoupler. The decoupler is going to separate the satellite, and springs inside of that decoupler will actually just unload and push the satellite away. You'll see the decoupler kind of uncouple during the deployment. It's right at the top of the cylinder. Now, on top of that, obviously, is the GPS-III SV09. That's the Ellison Onizuka satellite. It's a Mark III global positioning satellite with actually, the big thing with GPS-3s, we learned from Sawyer's answer about this a little bit earlier when he was here. He had to go. The Space Force said, get out from the press site. So what we learned about that earlier is a big thing with the global positioning satellite is that they have anti-jamming technology, basically making them harder to disrupt the signal that could interfere with warfighter. Which is that's pretty good stuff. Pretty cool. Yeah, they do it on purpose, Darker. These are beautiful, beautiful shots. I mean, it kind of blows my mind how crisp of an image that actually is. I mean, look at the altitude. That thing is not close to us. I mean, it is from an orbital mechanics standpoint, but 3,000 kilometers is still a long way away. Okay, 5 minutes, give or take, until deploy. Now, guys, crazy thing about it is that we were talking about orbital eccentricity a little bit earlier, and we noticed that we were in a slightly eccentric orbit. The speed was going down while the altitude was going up. You could tell that the orbit was slightly eccentric. Look at the numbers now that we're in range of a ground tracking station. You can see the vehicle's rapidly slowing down and altitude is rapidly going up. That indicates a very eccentric orbit. But now, just in case, just a little bit of a refresher in case what anybody wants to know. Eccentric means that your orbit is basically egg-shaped. You can have 3 shapes with orbits around a celestial body in, practical orbital mechanics. You can have a circle, you can have an egg shape, or you can have escape velocity. That's how, in fact, how orbital eccentricity is measured. Orbital eccentricity basically goes from 0 to 1. 0 being a perfectly circular orbit, and 1 being escape velocity of the celestial body that you're around. Now, we are not near 1 eccentricity with this.
If we were, we'd be going a lot faster. It takes a lot more speed to break Earth's gravity well than this. It takes a lot more speed. You're not going fast enough. But what we do see is our speed really, really, really going down. Because as a vehicle gets closer to its highest point in an eccentric orbit, Earth's gravity is going to pull you back. It's really going to want to take you back. That's why we're losing speed very quickly, but altitude is going up. Right now, the rocket is trading its forward velocity, right? It's trading its forward kinetic energy for potential energy. The potential energy hits maximum when you're at apogee, and then Earth says, hey, come here, come back, get back here. And it tries to pull you back in, and you start speeding up, you start falling again. So we do have some sparkles all around there. I know what people. I know people are looking at that, going, "What is all that?" Now they look to be coming out of the vent lines here, so I do believe that's more solid oxygen. But there's also a possibility that it could be solidified nitrogen. SpaceX does have little tiny thrusters that are used to turn the vehicle. We can't see them because they're basically behind this camera that you're looking at right now. You can't really see them too well. But they do have nitrogen, cold gas nitrogen thrusters like what they have on the first stage, very similar. If you're well versed in Falcon 9 terminology, it's basically just compressed nitrogen. And when that nitrogen outgasses into the vacuum, it has a momentary pressure drop. And that momentary pressure drop does cause solidification. Now, you could be seeing nitrogen sparkles around here from the thrusters firing to position the satellite in the second stage in the proper position for deploy. Here, that's what that could be, or it could be solid oxygen that's left over from, once again, passivating the second stage engine. Okay. Once again, oh, whoa, that chunk went flying off of there. That, like I said, that is normal. That happens. That is a chunk of solidified oxygen. That happens. Why does it break off like that? If the thrusters are going to fire and change and add what's called a roll or a pitch velocity component or roll or pitch rate to the vehicle, when the thruster fires, it momentarily jolts the vehicle, and that can cause it to break off. It does happen. And once again, that's not ice, guys. Ice is solidified H2O. That is solid oxygen. That's just O. Because once again, if you outgas gaseous oxygen into a vacuum, you're going to get a momentary pressure drop. And that momentary pressure drop does cause solidification. Okay, once again, just as a reminder, this is the GPS-III SV09 mission. That's a shot. They're switching between shots of the satellite and shots of the second stage engine. That's on the front of it. The satellite's up front. The engine is obviously at the back. We are T plus 1 hour, 28 minutes, 52 seconds into the mission here. Satellite deploy is scheduled for 1 hour, 29:19. So we're should see a deploy here momentarily. Stand by.
Payload deploy confirmed.
And there you have it, successful deployment of the...
There it goes. Did you see the decoupler ring separate? The decoupler ring separated, springs decompressed, exposing GPS-III SV09 to the free-flying vacuum of space. You can see that there is a tiny little rocket engine on the back of the satellite there. That's going to finish up its orbital circularization, and just as SpaceX deploys one payload, another one is moving to the pad. What you're seeing there is one of our Space Coast live cameras here at NASA Spaceflight, and you can see SpaceX is moving a payload fairing with its HVAC equipment with what looks like a yard truck up there at the front. They're pulling that thing out for the next launch that's going to happen.
There you go. One payload deploys up in space. Another one's getting moved to the pad for its future deployment. The machine never stops with SpaceX, and I'll tell you guys, that is really cool to see. That is really cool to see. But as that payload sails out into the darkness, so are we. This is where we bid you adieu here at NASA Space. Adieu? Nice. That's great. Good job. I was trying to sound cool, but it didn't really work. This is where we bid you adieu. That's how you say that. French. Cool. And we're going to sign off here. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We very much do appreciate it. Adieu. Yeah, I'm not living that one down. That's great. So we're going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. So I'd like to thank Max. We had Max and Jerry out in the field with Sawyer doing our field commentary. We had Carson pulling the levers and Gage doing remote tracks in the backgrounds. Guys, be sure to follow us on the NSF socials at NASA Spaceflight, on X, Instagram, anywhere. And then, once again, we had Carson pulling those strings in the back. I am EJ, and I've been your master of ceremonies here for the GPS-III SV09 mission. I do appreciate everybody watching. Thank you very much for all the support. Everybody that super chatted, memberships, red teams, buying stuff from the store. You guys are the best. But this is where I say good night, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Roger roll, Atlantis. Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Gino.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my god.
Yikes, you bet. We don't need any more of these.